45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Crazier than we ever even could have imagined. This NBA scandal is unreal. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Yesterday, Pearl, as we were on the air, we got drips and drabs of the breaking news, but we had yet to hear from the head of the DOJ, Kash Patel, and the rest of law enforcement on just how crazy really these two scandals are. They're twin scandals. One, a sports betting scandal. The other, rigged poker games, both involving the 5 families, crime families in New York City, both involving either former NBA players, the current coach in Chauncey Billups, current player Terry Rozier, and 34 people ultimately were arrested yesterday, and then several unnamed co-conspirators. We got to get into all of this, but was your jaw just on the floor yesterday as you were watching and getting all these details?
Maggie, I tried to move on, but they keep bringing me back in.
Get a butcher a line from Godfather 3 on a day like today?
Here it is. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. That was I was doing bad Godfather lines all afternoon and all, because it boggles your mind that in the year 2025, the 5 families are connected to the NBA. We probably should have known. You and I had the same reaction, like, whoa, the Cosa Nostra is still running things? And,
it's like Henry Hill and Goodfellas.
I mean, we'll get back to sports in a second, but the mafia, that's their superpower is to hide in plain sight. So I guess they still have that superpower. So that was one part of the revelation. But I mean, to me, I'm very, very curious. What is the lasting impact on sports of this story? Because I think we're in the beginning process of this scandal.
Well, listen. So let's just kind of lay it out quickly. So you got the two kind of twin scandals here that both were announced on the same day because there is overlap, and the mob does overlap in both scandals.
Yep.
So first you got the sports betting scandal, was essentially is an insider information kind of scandal, right? And that is players, coaches, or in the case of Damon Jones, the former player and teammate of LeBron James, giving either criminals or bettors or whatever, people who are connected to the mafia, giving them insider information about player injury status, right? And whether or not stars are going to play, which obviously wildly moves a line and betting. And so to me, the fact that Damon Jones was a basically volunteer assistant coach with the LA Lakers for several years, they're only because LeBron James is friends with him and they go back to their Cleveland Cavalier days. Damon Jones was on that team that got swept by the Spurs that first time around when LeBron went to the finals as a young man. He's one step away from LeBron, right? He's right there. He's LeBron's guy. He's only around the team because of LeBron James. And meanwhile, Damon Jones is then turning around and not only giving LeBron James injury information to the mob, he's also working these card games that were rigged. And that brings me to the second part of this scandal, rigged poker games.
Yeah, oh my God.
And so this is not really maybe Adam Silver's issue, because this is, something kind of different. But Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups, who Chauncey obviously was the coach of the Trailblazers up until yesterday, he's been put on leave. They were something that the government is calling face cards. They were somebody who would lure in unsuspecting rich gamblers to come into these poker games, and the games were rigged against them. And then they would basically fleece them And Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups were part of the card games. They were cheating in the card games, and then they would get a cut of the illicit winnings. Now, listen, the card games were illegal to begin with, so I don't know if people have a lot of sympathy for the victims here, but still, the mob is now shaking down guys who thought they were at least playing a poker game that was on the level, and it was not.
One thing, Chauncey Billups' lawyer strongly denied that Billups did this. So that obviously there's a quote unquote alleged around everything.
Yeah, sure.
Now, if Billups did do this,
Innocent until proven guilty. Sure.
Well, honestly, his statement was so strong. It put Billups in a vulnerable situation. Like if there's any truth to this, and the lawyer says there's none, then Billups should go to jail for a long time because a guy lost $1.8 million, and they're very clear in the indictment that the mob would then pressure these people, sometimes using aggression.
Yeah,
so
what do you think that looks like? An episode of The Sopranos.
Billups has this reputation as a great guy, and he is bringing people to a card game to lose all their money and then get physically threatened by the mob. That's evil. I mean, like, I think if he didn't do it, of course, then fine. But if he is guilty of this, like, I am a big fan of Chauncey Billups. This hurts, but throw the book at that dude because that is a very, very sinister act to me.
So Billups and Damon Jones now being charged with wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy. These are charges that carry prison sentences around, 20 years or so. Amy Dash, our Odyssey legal insider, is going to join us later in the show to kind of break that down for us. Mike Vakornoff from The Athletic has been doing all types of reporting on this. He's going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour. So we'll get it covered from the insiders. But to me, there's so many interesting details about this, but I got to pause on this Damon Jones being basically within arm's length of LeBron James.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Shohei.
Interesting.
Two superstars in LA, faces of the sport, just so important to the sports. And I understand that LeBron is maybe not at his peak now, and maybe the league is Wemby's or whatever. But LeBron, if he bothers you or whatever, LeBron's a national treasure, okay? LeBron is one of the most famous people we have in our country. You could quibble about his politics or whatever, this and that, but LeBron James is an important figure as far as us putting athletes on pedestals, okay? He is, and he's an important figure for the NBA. And the fact of the matter is, he had one of his friends was next to him and then turning around and next to the mob. The idea that the actual, old school, seems like Italian Cosa Nostra mob, everything you're thinking about from the movies and TV shows, is basically just within an eyelash, a fingernail in the orbit, if you will, of LeBron James, to me is unfathomable. And that's the scariest part, I think, for these sports. Because you can bust Terry Rozier, and the sports books are so good now that if somebody spends $200,000 on Terry Rozier unders, it's going to get flagged. The FBI is going to be alerted, and the system is ultimately going to root that out. But this kind of shadowy stuff around a superstar of LeBron's caliber, to me, Perloff, that's mind-blowing. And it feels like, listen, Shohei was different. His interpreter was literally stealing money from him.
Right.
But the idea that he was also acting around these very nefarious characters because sports betting's not legal in California. So Ipe, the translator, had to go to a bookie, right? And then God knows what you're dealing with. So the fact that the superstars are so close to underground illicit, some of the worst crime that we have in our country, to me, that's where Adam Silver has to be basically breathing heavy into a paper bag. That one of my superstars and faces the league is this close to danger.
You know what? Just to be totally honest here, I don't really view LeBron exactly the same way as you do. I wonder if some of your fandom for LeBron is getting into that take.
Okay, let's say Michael Jordan. Let's say
Jordan.
Jordan.
But it's funny. Jordan came up a lot yesterday because we know he has a gambling problem. That is what. But that's the thing. It's not that if Jordan was involved, it would not be that shocking to everybody because we know that he will gamble at the highest level possible. He was talked about he was a big part of this story. People kept talking about when Michael Jordan's on a golf course, he will bet hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
LeBron, I don't know. LeBron, I don't think LeBron had anything to do with it. I like the Shohei comparison, but just this national treasure, LeBron, I mean, listen, LeBron's in business with China. Like, there are a lot of people who have problems. Like, they don't view him as Mother Teresa exactly. I'm not sure, like, this is going to cut into LeBron's legacy. A lot of people already think LeBron is a wild hypocrite to start with. I don't think it's like, oh, my God, LeBron is – because I think the whole NBA is close to this. I'm not singling out LeBron. To me, this is not a LeBron story, although I know it's the first story on ESPN.com is a LeBron confidant uses information about LeBron. I don't know. It doesn't feel to me like this is like, oh my God, like the massive superstar guy. I feel like the whole league is on blast right now.
Oh, it is. And let's make like this as clear as humanly possible. Like LeBron doesn't, there's no tie. There's like LeBron is saying he had no knowledge of this, just like
there's no
Shohei
proof.
said he has no knowledge of this. And I think it's like, you know, do you get a little skeptical?
Shohei, you get very skeptical. Much more skeptical for Shohei than you do LeBron. Yeah, because the guy,
like, the translator literally is like stealing $17 million.
Yeah, the volume of it. LeBron, it's very easy to believe he had no idea. Because why would Damon Jones have to inform LeBron? There's no reason that you had to bring LeBron into the scheme to execute it. It's so easy as an assistant coach to share this information. That's what's scary about these gambling scandals. There was no brilliant plan here. Terry Rozier, who was indicted, just faked a foot injury.
Yeah, no. And that part though is going to get caught. Right?
And Damon Jones, like his job was easy too. The coaches know when there's load management coming, so they just call somebody.
I know, but what's crazy about the Damon Jones thing? It's one thing. Like, this is Tim Donaghy. This is the bad referee in the NBA. Kind of had the heads up on this insider information that he would call back to mob people in Philadelphia, and that was that whole scandal that the NBA got through. But to me, the idea that Damon Jones wasn't even on the payroll of the Lakers, Pearl, the team didn't want him around. This wasn't a rogue assistant coach, you know, who was actually employed by Jeannie Buss. This was LeBron's guy. And this is where I'm not alleging anything against LeBron. Let me make that as crystal clear as possible. But it's almost a little bit like Shohei, where this is your handpicked dude who's around you. You have no idea that Damon Jones likes to gamble. You have no idea that Damon Jones could be involved with weird people doing poker games, right? You have no idea that Damon Jones could be interacting with nefarious people. Maybe not. Maybe Damon Jones is hiding this entire thing, and probably. But it's like, why did you need him there?
Well, wait. But you could know all that about Damon Jones. Like, a lot of famous people are involved in private poker games everywhere. That's something I learned. The extent of private poker games, all rich and famous people are gambling large sums of money.
Ben Afflecks and the Leonardo DiCaprio's and
because
stuff.
There is this big, have you ever seen the movie Molly's Game? There's a big underground poker scene amongst actors too. So, of course, LeBron might know all that. And that wouldn't, I don't think famous people would push somebody away because you just might not know that the mafia is behind those card games, because I don't think it was so obvious to everybody.
That's fine. Yeah, you don't have a guy, you're not wearing a T-shirt that says Capo Genovese Crime Family on it. I get that. It's not that obvious. But I do think that people have some kind of idea, maybe of guys who are connected versus not connected. But here's the difference between Tobey Maguire being part of these big poker games or Leonardo DiCaprio. They don't compete in a sport where if things are not on the level, the entire sport could crumble. You know, and this is not a moral pearl clutching thing. This is a sports, everything's got to be square thing.
Yeah, such a good point.
Nobody bets on what? I guess whether Leonardo DiCaprio wins the Oscar, that's the only thing you can bet on. Nobody cares whether he's involved in a card game when he's got a movie coming out. Everybody should care if LeBron or Damon Jones or Chauncey Billups or any of these guys are close to the mob, because they got a game next week. They got a game tomorrow. It's just very different. I hold them to a very different standard.
No, it's such a good point, too, because put yourself in the shoes of one of the nicknames was Floppy, I think, was one of the mafia guys.
Yeah.
I think he was.
Floppy Poker.
Yeah.
The nicknames in this are out of a Scorsese screenplay. Yeah.
The nicknames, if you're one of them and you get a hold of a pro athlete and bring him into a poker ring, isn't your next thought like, ooh, if I get him where I want him, I can start fixing basketball games? If you're the mafia, that is a easy connection. You're right. Tobey Maguire, I don't think you can.
Who cares?
Yeah. I don't know if you could bet on the opening weekend box office. Toby, why do you intentionally make a bad movie so we could bet against it? Maybe that probably could happen, by the way. Yeah, make a flop. Basketball, you're right. If you're the mafia, the connection with sports makes them much more vulnerable. It's a really good point.
So this scandal, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476, is actually two scandals. It is two. It is one is guys giving insider information either about themselves or other players so that bettors and allegedly criminals can have access to that information and bet off of it. And then the second part is this illegal poker games, which I'm so glad that do you understand? I don't have the money, the time, the wherewithal, or the desire to play in an illegal poker game. Okay. It's not my circle.
And I'm
gonna shock
imagining
some
that-
people here this morning.
I'm going to imagine you don't really have the skill to be in a high stakes poker game.
I barely have the skill to play my kid and go fish. Okay.
By the way, oh God, if I had a camera on me and Maggie playing blackjack in Las Vegas, it was the most conservative.
Yeah.
You walked away and you're like, well, I'm plus $140. See you later.
Yep. I got up from the table and I went and bought a backpack. I'll stick on 12. Depends what the dealer's showing. Anyway,
For me, it depends on what the dealer tells me what to do. I am hardly a shark.
Are you sure you want to hit?
Yeah. So anyway,
Sir, you have 19.
okay. I don't have any of the. You'd never find me at a place like this. It's not. It's. I'm a stratosphere away from this. However, when I found out the details and reading them about how poker games are rigged,
Unbelievable.
did anyone know about this? Shuffling machines that rig. You have the poker chips, the thing that holds the poker chips. That can show you where the cards are. The cards are on a freaking X-ray table.
To
and
me,
then you got
the one
somebody
was-
off-site who can see underneath. I mean,
The one to me, there's a video of there's sunglasses you put on and you can see ultraviolet or whatever. You can see what the card is from the back. It's the most
or it was a
unbelievable.
marker on a card, I think. Was it?
It's unbelievable. You put on these glasses and it'll have a
X-ray
big
vision.
A. No, there's basically invisible ink on the
Yes.
back of the cards, and these sunglasses show it. And you can actually see it. It's the most unbelievable thing to me. Honestly, I was interested in every part of this. How they cheat in poker was a big interest to me. By the way, can I just share one thing, a blackjack story? There was a clip
Sure.
going around last night. A lot of people in the movie Austin Powers.
Yeah.
He has. The bad guy has glasses so he can see through the
No,
cards.
it's an eye patch.
An eye patch so he
Yeah.
can see through the cards. And he hits on 17. The dealer's like, whoa, that's aggressive. And then Austin Power holds on 5. And the dealer's like, are you sure you want to do that? He's like, I'd like to live dangerously.
Yeah.
5. And then the dealer gets a 20. He's like, you lose. Holding on 5. Sorry, this is not funny, but Austin Powers was funny. And please, very concerned about the people who got hurt in this.
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime the mob's involved, Pearl, it's like,
Right.
and they get their clutches into you. And this is something, obviously from movies and stuff like that. But once they get into you, like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Now you owe them. And I put out a tweet yesterday. I wonder how Chauncey Billups met the mob. And then I was thinking about it later. I'm like, oh, you idiot. He met them at a poker game, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, let's say you're in a rigged game. You don't know it. Now you lose money. Even Chauncey Billups, who's got all the money in the world, now you owe them something.
Yeah.
Because now they got something on you. So now I need you to start pulling in. Some of the amounts on this for the amount of money that these dudes have made is like nothing. Damon Jones, okay, who got arrested and is actually part of both scandals, the poker and the insider information. Do you know how much money he got for telling the mob that LeBron James was not going to play in a game?
No idea.
$2,500.
Oh, jeez.
Damon Jones made
Yeah.
$80 million,
Yeah.
$90 million in his career. Get $2,500
Yeah.
bucks.
I saw one of the big numbers.
He's going to go to jail now for a decade.
In the wire fraud, Chauncey Billups got a check for $50,000.
$50,000.
Yep.
Like to us, big money. $2,500. Please, I'd love that. But these are guys who are swimming in way different waters.
Yeah, I mean, it's not taxed, to be fair. But I saw a clip on TMZ, of all places, which is now, by the way, a credible sports reporting source, like it or not. They interviewed a former mafia member who was brought in
I
by the
saw
NBA.
that.
Incredible. Who's a speaker
Yeah.
to NBA players
A
about how
former
this works.
capo.
He said that the players are addicted to competition, and that's why they get involved in this. And obviously, you immediately think of Michael Jordan making bets on the golf course. And he said it's more prevalent than you would think. And he was very convincing that there are other. That's why I think this scandal is so important, because it could be the tip of the iceberg. That's what you fear.
Okay, but I saw that, and the guy said, Michael Jordan said in his documentary, he's not addicted to gambling, he's addicted to competition. What is competitive about a rigged poker game? It's the opposite of competition.
But
you're doing theater.
No, but there's something about it that hits some of the same brain waves, like the dopamine rush of knowing what the card is. I think that it's all about how the brain works, and yeah, I think that is in the same area. Believe it or not.
It's crazy. That feels like the opposite of competition to me. It's like it's a loaded dice, basically. It's a loaded game. It's not even close to being competition. It's completely rigged. And giving insider information about LeBron James, what's competitive about that?
I just think that it's every gambler's dream to know the actual outcome. I do think there is something there, and that guy was really compelling. And listen, the really, really scary thing is how easy it was for Scary Terry Rozier do they call him Scary Terry?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw he had a nickname in the indictment, Chum. I was like, is that because he's easy to beat off the dribble? I don't know what that meant. Or because he's
bad poker player.
Vulnerable to poker. Yeah, that could
actually,
be
he was not in the poker games.
No.
Terry was just taking himself out of games so his under bets would hit.
Yeah, that's what scared me. And now there's also reportedly a college basketball indictment down the road that is connected to Terry Rozier. I know Pablo Torre's been reporting on that, how easy it is to go under for a player. And that's why I think sportsbooks wisely cap how much you can make off of props. And they were on top of it.
There are mechanisms to root out that type of bad, fishy behavior. Absolutely. You're going to get caught, and the sportsbooks are going directly to the FBI, and you are going to get in trouble if all of a sudden $200,000 comes in on Jonte Porter's under or Terry Rozier's under rebounds. You're an idiot if you don't think you're going to get flagged.
I was talking with somebody about this last night. This year, 2025, imagine when AI and sports books, they're going to know every fishy bet. They'll have programs and algorithms that will say, well, this looks unusual. It comes immediately. So it's really kind of interesting how the sports books see the numbers and regulate bets on that basis.
So I think I have a solution. It's not going to fix everything in this scandal. It's not. But if I could sit down with Adam Silver today, who's got to be chugging the Imodium AD, that dude needs some Pepto. Because this does not look good for him to have this happen on his watch. But I think, Pearl, I have an idea. I've not seen this anywhere. Again, it's not going to fix everything, but I think it would help the NBA.
Can't wait to hear it.
Avoid future scandals like this.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah, Adam Silver can take your idea and share it from his couch when he's gone in 2 years.
and he's sitting next to us probably as a talking head or something. All right, so your thoughts on this scandal, your thoughts on some of the details if you have been following the story, and how do you think it can be fixed? And without further ado, we present Prize Picks. Now, I just want to say something really fast. Yeah. This is why places like Prize Picks are important, because this is an app that is safe, secure, and if you do want to bet responsibly, it's got to be places like Prize Picks, not an illegal poker game in some shady apartment in New York City.
Absolutely. And we're obviously aware of the irony of talking about this now. That being said, what was the first thing I said when I came in today?
You're just killing it on Prize Picks? You're obsessed.
No. I was on fire, and then I ran into a problem that EJ will appreciate. I picked Jonathan Kuminga to go over 15.5 points, and once again, Kuminga let me down. One of my favorite players on the Golden State Warriors. But that's how Prize Picks works. You pick more or less on stat projections, and yesterday Kuminga was at 15.5. He got to 14. He just came up short. It was super fun. It keeps you invested in the games, and if you have the right take, then you can win big. It's awesome, too. You go anything, touchdowns, threes, soccer. There's so many different sports where you can win on, and it makes watching sports so much more fun.
Yeah, this is where you do these kinds of things responsibly and in the right way, right? So if you do like to bet on football, basketball, baseball, the World Series starts tonight, this is a great place to do it because the app is super safe and secure. Also, Prize Picks available 40-plus states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. It's fun. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MNP to get $50 bonus credit in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code MNP to get $50 bonus credit in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P. You're in a 4-minute break.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, welcome back, Maggie Perloff. Obviously, there are no winners in the NBA betting scandal that we are breaking down from every angle today. I will admit there is some relief that we could talk about this and not how my guy Carson Wentz performed last night in the Vikings-Chargers game. He had a broken left arm. I don't even know why he was out there. And the offensive line for a minute. So don't even start on Carson Wentz. But again, no one's talking about that. Thank God. It was barely a game. The Chargers blow out the Vikings 37-10. Carson Wentz looks terrible, but the entire team looked terrible. So anyway.
Yeah, I thought for a second, I'm like, did the Genovese family get to Carson Wentz? Because that was so bad. But his offensive line
by the second quarter was crying. I don't know what. Like, go to J.J. McCarthy, who was the third quarterback last night. That was an entire mess. The Vikings ever since that loss to Detroit in Week 18 of last year, they are going downhill fast.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what happened to the defense? Like, I get it. The other team's up to a 2-score lead, so the playbook is now open for Jim Harbaugh to do whatever he wants, but it's still the Chargers. They just blew a 2-touchdown lead to the Commanders a couple weeks ago. The Chargers are one Justin Herbert crazy play away from being on a 4-game losing streak before last night. You know, they got some pieces back. Joe Alt came back last night. Khalil Mack obviously was back last night, even though Derwin James exited in the first quarter with an injury. But to me, like, something is going on with that Vikings defense because Jalen Hurts lit them up like a Christmas tree last week, and then this week it was Justin Herbert.
Well, they can't stop the run. That's true. One thing. But I'll tell you, the two things that happened last night was Joe Alt was back, as you just mentioned, and that transformed the Chargers. And who is, for a long time in the game, who was the leading rusher? Justin Herbert was doing his best Josh Allen. You're telling me he did not remind you of Josh Allen last night? The way he was running so much, which when you have that lightning bolt on your uniform means you're going to get hurt. Yeah. I'm sorry. But Justin Herbert was running so much, that put the Vikings in a tough position. So anyway, we have more important things today. That game, the Vikings are done. They are toast. But last night it was overshadowed, obviously, by the NBA betting scandal that everybody in my life is asking about, talking about. And Maggie, you said that you might have a solution. I have to be honest. I'm really curious about this because I don't think there is an easy solution. You got an idea? Okay,
well, I'm going to save it because I can't solve like a player taking himself out of a game, okay? But I think I can solve some of the other problems for the NBA. First, though, Andreas is in Chicago, wants to weigh in on this scandal. Andreas, what do you got, sir?
Earlier you guys were mentioning that Adam Silver's days are numbered. I think I have to agree with both of you. If David Stern was running the league today, would y'all think this would be an issue or have a betting scandal? That's all I have.
Yeah, Andreas, I mean, here's the thing about David Stern. David Stern was the commissioner when one of the biggest betting scandals that happened in sports history. He had a rogue referee. And by the way, because that story got conveniently leaked to the newspaper about Tim Donaghy while the FBI was still investigating whether more referees were involved, that scandal could have been so much bigger. And the story now, David Stern has passed away, obviously, but the story now is that Stern himself leaked the story, leaked the fact that the FBI was looking into his referees in order to create chaos and basically disrupt the entire investigation. David Stern was right in the middle of one of sports' biggest scandals.
I'm not sure if he was asking, would David Stern successfully swept this under the rug? Because Adam Silver, that's another angle we haven't even talked about. The NBA knew about Terry Rozier, and it sure feels like in certain ways they tried to sweep this under the rug, make it go away.
Okay, so that is what it looks like, and I'm not here. Listen, Adam Silver's got a boatload of problems this morning, but there is something. It's an NBA investigation, which obviously looks like Keystone Cops, obviously, today. But the FBI has subpoena power. The FBI, they come in with those windbreakers on and those hats. Like, people need to tell the truth. Adam Silver's deputy comes in, you're probably going to lie your bleep off to that guy. So I think it's a little different where you can lie to the NBA. You have an NBA Players Association that's going to back you up. You can't lie to the FBI. If you do, it's going to be even worse for you. So I don't know if David Stern could have done any better with this.
Well, I mean, the NBA did know all about the investigation. That is very clear. And we didn't, I know Pablo Torre did a lot of reporting on this, but generally they were able to keep it below the surface when, Terry Rozier, what happened with Terry Rozier? Did they tell him go away for a little bit? It sure feels that way because after he was caught doing that or he was caught being involved in that particular moment when the guy bet on his unders, I feel like the NBA knew about that and there's going to be more to come out because now they're going to dive into this. Did anybody at the NBA says, hey, we know you did this, get away?
Yeah, the Malik Beasley thing. How about the details in one of the indictments about the Terry Rozier? Basically, Terry Rozier tips him off, hey, I'm going to take myself out of the game, bet my unders. And two dudes basically take a duffel bag full of money straight to the casino and just push a duffel bag full of money. It's $200,000. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Do you think the FBI is going to be like, no, this is cool?
Well, I mean,
criminals are dumb.
The other I think a much bigger problem is Chauncey Billups, who is in this indictment co-conspirator number 8, who lives in Oregon. Everybody thinks it's Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, played in the NBA from 1997 to 2014. Has been coaching since 2021.
Co-conspirator number 8 feels like a good fantasy football team number 8 because you keep everyone like, oh, I know he's number 8. That to me is much bigger level having a coach and also a Hall of Fame player. Terry Rozier is one thing. He's a good player, but man. If you get a coach involved, and we don't know the level of Billups' involvement yet, too, alleged involvement.
Well, it's funny because he's definitely in the poker indictment, right?
Yeah.
That he was a quote-unquote face guard. He would lure in unsuspecting people into these rigged poker games, and then they would spend obscene amounts of money and basically get robbed. And Billups was not only part of the game as a cheater, but also would get a cut of the winnings at the end of the night. So that's bad. But then he's co-conspirator number 8. He's unnamed in the other scandal, where it's clearly him tipping off some mob people that Dame Lillard was not going to play in a game.
Yeah, that's co-conspirator number. Whoever co-conspirator number 8 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's bald. He won a title in 2004 with Ben Wallace. No, I didn't say that.
Legend in Colorado. No,
Yeah.
Would you rather be a number or a color? I was thinking about this. Remember the movie Reservoir Dogs, and everyone got to be like
Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
Why the bleep am I Mr. Pink? And I'm not going to get into that on not safe for work language and actually very homophobic language. But would you rather be a color? I'd rather be like, oh, well, maybe my last name is a color. Maybe
You're a little biased.
I'm biased to that. I'd rather be something else than a number.
Co-conspirator is always I don't think it matters if you're a color or a number. When you're co-conspirator,
You're
purple,
bleeped.
you're bad.
Yeah, I'm already out as soon as co-conspirator comes out.
Let's get to Gordon Damer. You just heard his voice. He's got updates for us this morning.
Maggie Perloff headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football's heating up and basketball's back. So download the Prize Picks
Yes, it
app
is.
and use promo code PRIMETIME. Oh, my God. And get $50 in bonus credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Obviously not the headline of the day yesterday, but man, what a start it's been to the NBA season.
Shot clock to 10. Gilgeous-Alexander crossing over, spinning. Sends up to Wiggins for a 3 straight away that's on. Line it in there. Cha-ching at Thunder Moneyball. Wiggins, second 3 of the overtime. Gives the Thunder a 7-point edge, matching their largest. 135-128 on Shea's kick out, his 5th assist.
Matt Pinto, the call, Thunder Radio Network, OKC. Another double overtime win, 141-135. Rematch of the finals last year against the Pacers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, double nickels, 55. But that second straight overtime win to start the season. How you doing?
I'm tired, but it's expected, and I'm like it's a good way to like break the ice on the season, shake the rust off.
Yeah, just a ho-hum single overtime win for the Warriors. They beat the Nuggets 137-131. Steph Curry, 42.
There's 80 games left, so you kind of understand you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but building blocks on an understanding of how to win, the selflessness of a team that can have 8 or 9 guys in a closing lineup, realistically.
It doesn't sound like he's going to make it the rest of the 80. I mean, he's a
breathing
little
heavy.
exhausted right off the bat.
Did they make him run wind sprints after the game like Fran Brown?
That's video. 36, 37. I mean, it's tiring to go out there and drop a 40-piece on a team like the Nuggets.
Still looks great, though.
Uh,
Sounded like me after eating 2 Big Macs.
That actually was. I thought that was sound of me after my Saturday morning run. That's Andrew Perloff after playing an hour and a half of half court. It's like
he was gassed.
Sounds like my brother going up a flight of stairs. I digress.
Oh man,
We're all out of shape.
Definitely.
Weekend got underway
yourself.
last night with the Thursday night game. Sunday night, of course, it's the Packers and the Steelers. So that, of course, means that Aaron Rodgers goes up against his old pals.
I don't have any animosity toward the organization. Obviously, I wish that, things have been better in our last year there, but, I have a great relationship with a lot of people still in that organization. And this is not a revenge game for me. I'm just excited to see some of those guys and be on Sunday Night Football again.
Feels like some revisionist history there,
well,
no?
Gordon, I buy Aaron Rodgers doesn't care about this, but he's still so mad at the Jets. And Maggie thinks that he is a master of holding resentments.
Oh, this guy's got a catalog of
Absolutely.
every person who even halfway slighted him. You don't think he's got a little something for the Packers?
Even
Of
the person who
course.
messed up his Dunkin' Donuts order in the morning?
That guy is dead to him.
Yeah, I think there's a little revisionist history on Aaron's part there. World Series starts tonight. Alex Vesia, though, one of the Dodgers' most trusted relievers, dealing with a personal matter. They released a statement on Thursday, the Dodgers did, that said Vesia is away from the team as he and his wife, Kayla, navigate a deeply personal family matter. So wish them the best there. Don't know if he's going to be available for the series or not. And NHL, how many people even know that there's a team named the Utah Mammoth?
Oh, they play at the Delta Center.
They are now second in points out west. It's still early on in the season, but another win for them last night, 7-4 over the Blues.
No, we're big Mammoth fans around here.
That arena's called the Delta Center now. That's awesome.
I said that about 2 days ago. You should listen to the show, EJ. It's a pretty
And
good
2
show.
seconds ago.
I'm saying I'm repeating what he said. It's cool that it's called that. I didn't know you said it 2 days ago. My bad.
Yeah, the little nostalgia feel back like in the 90s.
Did you? By the way, I think there's one key NHL headline. Did you guys see the throwback uniforms, the Avalanche and the Whalers?
I did.
That was awesome. And has anyone noticed that I happen to...
A little Nordiques?
I have it's Nordique.
Sorry.
Pronounced in France.
Oui, oui.
I was walking the streets of Montreal, and it was too sunny out, so I had to buy a hat. I bought this Nordique hat. Then last night, I'm watching the highlights, and the Avalanche wore Nordique old school jerseys, which are beautiful. And the Hurricanes wore these Whalers jerseys, which are also beautiful. 80s hockey jerseys or sweaters, as we like to call them.
The Whalers is a very underrated jersey, unfortunately.
So cool. It was really, really fun to see. I don't know.
I Frenched that thing like I was in Paris.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never have an excuse to wear this hat because we don't do a lot of Quebec Nordique content on the show.
No. Shockingly.
Well, that all changes today.
Oui.
We're now a Quebec Nordique podcast show.
They were old school jerseys are kind of awesome, and they're going to rotate these in a lot this season.
If every sports franchise just wore whatever they wore in 1986, all would be right with the world.
Well,
Jay Stewart take.
Like the Denver Nuggets City Skyline jerseys used to be the ugliest thing in sports. I'm like, what is this? Now they're the coolest. Things go from ugly to cool over time.
Those things are cool. What are you talking about?
No, people thought they were ugly.
They were known as the ugliest uniforms. When we were kids, we're like, what is Alex English wearing?
Remember the old Milwaukee Bucks jerseys where it was like the head of the buck took a massive part of the jersey?
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's like the Michael Red Bucks you're talking about?
No, that's like Ray Allen.
Yeah, it's Ray Allen Bucks.
Ray Allen saying
That's fun.
Vin Baker.
That was fun.
What about when the Seattle Seahawks wore the Cortez Kennedy jerseys?
I loved it.
Those were not known as cool jerseys back then, and now they're the coolest. I'm telling you, something changes over time. So if you don't like a uniform now, just wait. Put it in the back of the closet. It'll be awesome in 20 years.
It's just fashion. It's cyclical, you know?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
people didn't wear bell bottoms for a long time. Then they kind of came back. And then you wear kind of skinny jeans. And then you wear loose jeans. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't keep up.
No, now it's all that 80s loose pants are back in is very
all the
problematic
glasses
for me.
that young people wear today, like the make you look like serial killers, that's suddenly cool.
Oh,
Those
wow.
were not cool when we were kids.
Sounded like a little slat to Pat Boyle over there.
No, it's everyone. Pat's just one of the people. He's like, there's 10 people who are wearing those, including Jackson Dart, all these famous people.
You saw Pat 20 minutes, half an hour ago.
I know, but
he's fresh on your mind. That's why you brought it up. Could have said Dahmer. Could have said anybody else.
Could have said Dahmer. No, we already have enough serious things on the show today. 888-710-4ISN.
Why? What happened?
888-710-4476. Well, bad things happened in the NBA yesterday, but I think I have a solution. Could help the NBA get through, navigate some of these situations to make sure some of these scandals don't ever happen again.
It's like Costa Nostra.
Ruh-roh. Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. We've got some really good sound for you coming up on everyone weighing in on this NBA scandal. Two scandals, really. One is basically an insider trading scandal where people were giving information to bettors and criminals about players who were either out that night, not playing, or were going to take themselves out of the game. And that obviously impacts betting lines and stuff like that. Then the second part of the scandal is in illegal poker games that NBA players got involved with that were not on the level. They were cheating. The poker games were rigged. In both scandals, the mob is involved. Okay? Yep. Both scandals, the mob is involved. So
the five families, the Cosa Nostra, every detail that you know from all the movies laid out right in the FBI indictment.
Yeah, like offering protection for poker games. It's every episode of The Sopranos.
Yep.
Anyway, not to be stereotypical, but that's what this is. So I think I have a good idea that's not going to solve all of the issues in the NBA and the scandal, but may solve one of them, okay? And one of the details is Chauncey Billups, who obviously is actually involved in both scandals, providing information to bettors that wasn't public, and also helping these illegal poker games to reel in, using his celebrity to reel in these unsuspecting rich people who didn't understand that they were part of a rigged poker game. They'd get fleeced for all their money, and Chauncey Billups would get part of the cut. That's the allegation. So Chauncey, allegedly, co-conspirator number 8, Chauncey Billups, told one of these mobsters that Damian Lillard was not going to play in a game before that became public because, and it says this in the indictment, the Trailblazers were trying to tank because Victor Wembanyama was coming out of the draft. Okay?
That bust.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So
Turns out that was a smart philosophy by the Trailblazers.
right. So here's my thing. Clearly, what the NBA has had an issue with tanking for a long time. Okay, they flattened the odds, and they've even tried to tweak more about the draft lottery to try to discourage tanking. Okay, to me, I think a solution here is you predetermine who's going to have the number 1 pick in the draft 5 years in advance. It rotates between every single team, and you can do that by alphabetical. Who knows? Who cares? You determine a way that you know if you're getting the number 1 pick 5 years in advance, and it rotates between every single NBA team. Then spots 2 through 6, so the next 5 slots, rotate between the 30 teams every 5 years. So you're always having a shot at a top 6 pick, okay? Whether you're getting the number 1 pick, which is once every 30 years, or you can get in the top 6 every 5. Now you can trade those picks, you can do whatever you want with them, but it's already slotted. So if I'm the Blazers and I realize that either I have the number 1 pick this year or I don't have the number 1 pick until 2030, I still have to have an incentive now to win games. At least I don't have an incentive to lose. I don't have an incentive not to play Dame Lillard, to try to get more ping pong balls in a lottery that I didn't win anyway. And so I think that would help, Pearl. And I haven't seen this idea a lot of places anywhere, really. I think they should predetermine the number 1 pick 5 years in advance or 30 years in advance. You know when you're getting it.
Well, you're eliminating the entire purpose of the draft, which is to create some level of parity.
But here's the thing. You can miss on those picks, right? Like it doesn't guarantee that you are actually going to turn your franchise around or get a franchise player. Because sometimes the number 1 picks end up being terrible. So it's all chance anyway. And you can set up your franchise a lot better. Hey, should we pay this guy? Like the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Listen, we know we've got the number 1 pick coming up next year. It's been predetermined for 5 years. So You want to know what? We don't actually want to pay Luka. Well, the Lakers don't have the number 1 pick until the year 2032. So you know what? This actually makes perfect sense for us to trade for Luka, and we can pay him all this money. Like, it helps you build your team a lot easier. You will kill parity. I mean, why were the Cleveland Cavaliers a relevant franchise? Because they got the number 1 pick and they got LeBron James. Did they need to get the number 1 pick 3 times in 5 years, though, with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Bennett and Andrew Wiggins? Like, they didn't need it that many times. Why are the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals? Because they got the number 1 pick. Why are the Orlando Magic all of a sudden a really dangerous team? Because they got the number 1 pick. You have to. It doesn't all. You're right. Still get the number 1 pick. But you just rotate, don't have to tank to get it. Yeah, but you need the number 1 pick to go to the worst teams. Otherwise, if, say, for example, the Warriors got Paul, Banchero, what are we going to do now? They're going to win 75 games. And then you have a team at the bottom who are going to be terrible. Then you're not going to be able to sell tickets because no one's going to want to watch a Sacramento Kings team that only wins 7 games. No. See, this is the thing. Parity. You can get the number 1 overall pick, but the Warriors did not rise to dominance with any number 1 pick. Yeah, Steph Curry was a later pick. Draymond Green was a 2nd-round pick. Klay Thompson was a later pick. Kevin Durant joined in free agency. By the way, he wasn't even number 1 technically. Greg Oden was that year. So anyone can screw this up. But you're using exceptions. The rule, I think you'd be surprised if you look at the rule of how important it is to have top picks. But these guys, like if you're Utah and you were losing at a historic clip last year, you actually know exactly when you are guaranteed you're going to get the number 1 pick at some point. Right, but the way you're describing it, like the good teams are also going to get the number 1 pick. It's that you're saying it right. Look at the Mavericks. The Mavericks got the number 1 pick. They were not the worst team in the NBA. It doesn't even work right now the way the draft lottery is set up. Does it, though? Because guess who's back? The San Antonio Spurs. And would they be back if, say, that they weren't in the rotation to get Wemby, and let's say, for example, the Nuggets were supposed to get Wemby that year because they're in the rotation.
then what are we going to do? Like, what's the future of that franchise? Their value cuts in half because how are they ever going to get a superstar if they can't get to that number one pick?
But not every number one overall pick every year is a superstar.
Yeah, but you have such a better chance of getting a superstar at number one than you do anywhere else. I mean, it's astronomically more important to get high in the draft. I mean,
yes, and I'm in my
right. The good teams are going to get those high picks,
but also the bad teams are.
Every
single team gets a number one pick.
The whole purpose of a draft is you have to reward the bad teams by getting good players consistently. You can't just randomize it because then the good teams and the bad teams have the same exact chances of getting the number one pick. And guess what? The good teams are going to rise even further, and you're going to have a non-competitive product. Why do you think the NFL is awesome now? Because anybody can beat anybody on a given week. It'd be crazy disparity with your system.
Right now, the New York Knicks are favorites to win the Eastern Conference, right?
Well, that's the East.
When's the last time they had a number one pick?
That's a JV conference. Let's look at the West.
I'm just saying, Pearl, if you give everyone knows exactly when they're getting the number one overall pick, that's how you build your team.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Oh boy, NBA's got a big meatball on their hands today. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Number one, Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, Pearl. Those are the names we know, and those are the names that are really in trouble. It's basically two scandals happening all at once. One is an insider trading scandal, basically. That's what they called it yesterday. Kash Patel, the FBI director. Teams, whether it's the player themselves, whether it was Damon Jones as a close associate of LeBron James and a volunteer assistant coach, whether it was Chauncey Billups as the coach of the Blazers, providing bettors insider information about injuries, whether it was Rozier literally taking himself out of a game, which we knew about, or whether it was these other people giving this to bettors and subsequently the mob.
Yeah. I mean, there are two different scandals, but the connection, the fact that there were common people in both scandals, and I'm not sure if the FBI designed this on purpose, makes it one scandal. And it also makes the depth of the NBA involvement in this deeper, because you can't separate now the poker games from the NBA games. And we know probably how this works. If an NBA player ever got in the hole for gambling on things that were not basketball, it's not that much of a stretch to think, oh, I need some money. I'm going to get involved in my sport and give some information.
Totally. And so that's the other twin part of the scandal. That's the other peak. Perloff just mentioned it. These poker games, okay? Poker games that Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones were using their celebrity to reel in what the FBI is calling fish, unsuspecting rich people who could come in, and the game was designed to make them lose. And they were in on it, Billups and Damon Jones. They were given a cut of the profits. And the amount, like the type of cheating, like surveillance, basically, a table with X-rays, poker chip, like the tray that has a camera in it, or can tell what the cards are, and a shuffler, an automatic card shuffler that tells you where the cards are.
Yeah.
That's rigged. It's loaded. It's crazy.
Spy glasses so you can read the back of cards. I mean, by the way, I was actually just thinking if these mob guys were ripping off other mob guys and they found out how fixed this was, like, God, I would be furious. But
that's why I think you got all the crime families in here.
Yeah.
I think they all needed a cut. They all wanted in on this. It seemed like the easiest scandal.
Yeah, and I obviously feel terrible for the victims. One person lost $1.8 million. Still, now it's a lesson. If you get into I guess it might be glamorous to play in a card game like that, but God, you got to run away.
Crazy, crazy scandal. And it's sitting here right at the feet of Adam Silver and the commissioner. And, to me, I saw a lot of shades of Shohei Ohtani, at least in the LeBron James aspect of this, right? Damon Jones, who was only around the Lakers because LeBron is a close friend and because LeBron wanted him there. And the fact that Damon was then turning around and had these close mob ties is really scary, just like the fact that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, Ipe Mizrahi, was stealing from Shohei and was paying bookies and stuff like that. These guys are the faces of the sport, and to have the mob or nefarious characters that close to them or in their orbit in any way, to me, that's where Adam Silver is really dry heaving this morning.
And the NBA is particularly vulnerable because one player can have a massive impact on a game. Football, we've talked about this a lot. Football is harder to tank a whole game. You're one of 22 players on the field. There's so many moving parts. Basketball, you can pull the videos. It's so obvious when something is going on and they're not wearing helmets. You can see their faces. Football, like for example, like obviously Carson Wentz was terrible last night. No one's going to be like, oh, he was throwing the game. He was getting demolished.
I thought about it for a second.
Well, he was throwing the game. I thought they were going to actually pull an ambulance out on the field after like 3 downs. I'm like, Carson Wentz, there's no way he could stand up to this rush. His offensive line couldn't block you and me. It was unbelievable. But there's never really a hint of what's going on here with the NFL. NBA, one guy can change everything. One guy can win a title with Michael Jordan. Why can't one guy throw a game?
So the other funny part about this, Pearl, is, you and I are not in these circles.
No.
Thank goodness. Also, we'd be real fish out of water walking into an illegal poker game.
I mean, listen, I can barely understand the rules when I watch it on ESPN. I mean, I would be a fish's fish. The fish could take me out.
One of the games actually was around here.
New York.
In New York.
Anyway, there was multiple games. The Lexington Avenue game.
Yeah, and the Washington Place game, which Washington Place is not that far away.
I thought that was Washington Heights. That's downtown. Oh my God.
Anyway, we should walk around, try to find the address. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be sitting at the table. I'm like, hey, quick question. Does 3 of a kind beat does 4 of a kind beat a full house? Yeah, I would be like,
what's a flush again?
Yeah, growing up, we played for like candy.
Yeah,
I've never been in a high stakes poker game. I played for money before. In college, we used to do that, and it's super fun. But obviously, you have to be careful.
So I can tell the story another time, but it doesn't rise to the level of this. But my husband and his friends, for a little bit, they played a poker game, just more to stay in touch with his college friends. And there was a guy who was cheating, and he eventually had to come clean to the group. It was a friend of a friend. He said it was terrible. Like the guy was going through a divorce, and he was going through all this terrible stuff, and he was cheating, and they caught him. Anyway, that's is
he out of the friend group?
He was a friend of a friend, so he was never really in it.
Okay.
But yes.
I mean, actually, you're
he's
saying.
in the bottom of the Hudson. What are you talking about?
You're saying it's no big deal, but that does, we're swimming in that kind of waters.
That was a long time ago. But anyway, here's what I find interesting. We're getting a lot of, in hindsight, right? Like a little after the fact on social media of people who do swim in these waters and are around either high stakes poker games or whatever, are now kind of, we're going over some stories they may have told in the past with fresh eyes. So I was not familiar with a guy named Matt Berkey, but he's a professional poker player. He has a podcast called Only Friends, and this is an episode from May of 2023.
Wow.
Where he says he heard about Chauncey Billups being involved in rigged poker games.
There was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, "Look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up." And I was like, "Well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up."
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that I just wasn't going to go play it.
Okay, more from Berkey. So again, inside these circles, people knew that Chauncey Billups was attached to these games where a pro poker player like Matt Berkey said there's no way this is on the up and up. Here's more from Berkey.
2023.
2023. He's the coach of the Blazers. Here's more from Berkey, who had friends who played the game, and how they lost was comical.
Had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously was for sure confirmed to be cheated. Mm-hmm. People who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just jamming hundreds of big blinds in with a gutty and then just drilling it. Yeah. Only the pros are losing.
Drill a gutty.
Oh, I love the poker talk. God, I wish I could talk like that.
I have no idea what any of this stuff means, but we get the gist, right? That these pro players are losing in these comical ways.
Yeah, to guys who don't even know the rules. To me, that is the most damning statement. If you're going to cheat, at least learn the rules.
Okay, so more here from Berkey as he's telling this story. Again, Chauncey Billups got hired by the Blazers in 2022. This is 2023, where he's the face of a game that's obviously rigged. More from Berkey mentions about Billups cheating, and then also someone named Pierce is involved?
I can't remember if this was the game where...
No. Over the loudspeaker?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That was Pierce.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still... I mean, it's not like Chauncey and Pierce don't know each other. You know? I feel like it's probably the same crowd overlapping there.
Gotcha.
But maybe not. Either way, it was basically confirmed amongst all of the pros that the game was cheated, but there's just no recourse.
Gotcha.
And, they got absolutely flayed.
Uh-oh. Paul Pierce, FBI on line 2.
Unless there's another Pierce that I could think of that knows Chauncey Billups. Yeah.
They were teammates in Boston.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's one thing. There reportedly will be more indictments coming down in the future.
Do you want to hear a little more from the podcast?
Yeah, this is fascinating.
All
I
right.
love the card talk.
So more from this professional poker player, Matt Berkey. This is on a podcast from 2023 talking about a known card game where Chauncey Billups was involved, and it was obviously rigged. Here's Berkey saying there's no way to stop someone as powerful as Chauncey Billups.
It's tough, too, whenever you're dealing with somebody like high profile like that because they carry a lot of weight and hold a lot of power. So all you can do is like kind of unite together and threaten to publicly out him or extort him in some sort of capacity, in which case, good luck. It's like this guy beat rape charges. You think he cares about you calling him a cheater?
Yeah, that was, you'll remember that goes back to the late 90s when Chauncey Billups was accused by a woman of not just sexual assault, but also abuse. And that case went away. It came up briefly when he got hired by the Blazers, Pearl. But that actually brings up something interesting. Not just that Billups is obviously a very different person behind the scenes than what he claims to be publicly, right? Obviously, the guy's been involved in has mob ties. Now going back to, I think it was 2018, they said these card games started, 2018, 2019. So clearly Chauncey Billups is not someone you want to be the face of your organization. Where are the Blazers as far as the hiring process? So this one red flag thing comes out about this old case that Chauncey Billups did get out, was I guess cleared, but I think it was more that the case was thrown out as opposed to he was exonerated. But what's the vetting process now? And it's got to be a lot stiffer, I would imagine, if these professional poker players in Las Vegas knew Billups was part of this ring and he still was able to get this job.
Well, how would the NBA powers that be know about that? You're saying that maybe hire a private investigator before you hire a coach?
They do this for draft picks. They follow these guys to the bathroom.
But I don't think teams approach coaching like that. It's funny. Did you think the Raiders hired a private security guard to find out what Pete Carroll was up to? I mean, just chewing gum too hard? It just doesn't sound like something that would happen. I've never heard of a coach being investigated. You're right. Draft picks for sure. I've never heard that, we looked into the past of this guy. Everyone knows who Chauncey Billups is. I mean, if you're an NBA owner, you watch Chauncey Billups as a player. That would be the last thought on my mind.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So this scandal, just crazy, rocking the NBA. Let's get to Ramon, who's our pal in Indianapolis. Good morning, Ramon. How are you?
Good morning, Maggie Perloff and everyone else. Going real quick with your analogy on the draft. Perloff, Boston Celtics won the title and didn't have a first pick either. I think Tatum was third to the Lakers this May. He wasn't number one either. I think Brown was 5 or 6.
No, but the Celtics did have the number one pick, and they traded it to get with the Sixers. So they actually did have the one pick, and they traded down for Tatum. Am I right? Or it's
and the Sixers got Markelle Fultz.
That was originally the Nets pick.
Oh, okay, all right.
But the point is made, right? They won a title without a number one pick
on the team, on the championship team. There's not a defined number one pick on Boston at this moment.
But the number one picks lately there have been a lot of number one picks who've turned around franchises over the last decade, just to be fair.
Right, so this was my idea of
this one title.
Yeah, good point.
Right, like this is my idea. How do you stop tanking? Because part of the scandal was attached to Chauncey Billups telling these bettors that Dame Lillard was going to sit because they're tanking. That's in the indictment. I thought, how about just rotate the number one overall pick between every single team? Then, so you get a number one pick once every 30 years. You can trade it if you want to, and then you rotate picks 2 through 6 every 5 years between all the teams. So everyone is getting their shot at top talent. Anyway, go ahead,
top
Ramon.
15. But yeah, but I guess this is reaching deep. We want to continue to say allegedly. It hasn't been convicted yet of anything, but I guess it's reaching deep. Gilbert Arenas commented on it on his podcast yesterday because I guess allegedly Rachel Nichols hinted that he may have squealed. He's saying his case he got arrested too a couple months back.
Mm-hmm.
He said his case had nothing to do with that. It's just really true. But I go back to the days of when Slim Boulder was a mob associate and was found unalived, and Michael Jordan had a check of $237,000 in his briefcase from losing money to him from playing golf. So David Stern, the guy called in and talked about David Stern, that was a big, big thing back then. That actually was some of the credence that got us to think that Michael Jordan's dad was unalived by the mob and not those two young men.
Yep.
Those two young men are out, matter of fact, right now, and they still contend their innocence. So with Michael Jordan's dad. So that was a big thing back then, and David Stern was the commissioner, and he made it go away. I just don't like it at all. Gambling is, I dibble and dabble a little bit, but you really got to be control of yourself. Gambling is an addiction, people, so you really got to watch it. And as far as Phillips getting these jobs, let's just remember, we have a president, I'm not going political, with 34 convictions he can't get rid of. 34 convictions. So people in powerful positions get jobs that us regular people would never get. Speeding tickets.
Ramon, President of the United States, you can have it. I don't need that kind of headache. That there are some jobs you'd want, some jobs you can't have. Well, there was like a political aspect to this yesterday. Stephen A. Smith kind of not implying, basically saying he thinks that Trump was using this and they timed it.
Yeah, they affected it when it came out.
Yeah, to basically kind of throw cold water on the start of the NBA season because a lot of NBA players have, not been aligned with Trump's camp, right? Have been on the other side politically or called him out specifically, like LeBron James and Trump, who went back and forth on Twitter during the his first term when LeBron called him a bum, all that stuff. And they said the shut up and dribble stuff. Anyway.
By the way, what's funny about Chauncey Billups? Chauncey Billups, and you guys are probably too young to remember this, he's in one of the biggest lottery fails of all time. The Celtics hire Rick Pitino, and they have huge odds to get the number 1 overall pick. They have 2 lottery spots, and they fall to 3 and get Chauncey Billups. I think Billups was 3, and Tim Duncan goes number 1. They thought they were getting Duncan. I mean, they were printing green Duncan jerseys. And then they get Ron Mercer and Chauncey Billups. They have Rick Pitino, and the whole thing just did not work. It was a huge deal. Like, Pitino's going to get Duncan and win 10 NBA titles. And then they end up with Billups, who didn't work in Boston, then won a title later.
Yep.
Anyway, I've gotten
in the Hall of Fame.
I've gotten very sidetracked on your change the lottery system. Which isn't what the story is about, but it's an interesting little tangent because there are many tangents here.
So many. And I think that there's a couple things that are very, very obvious here. One is just an NBA, it feels like kind of an NBA problem, and the other one is more of a global sports problem. One is the NBA has not solved tanking, right? They have not solved it.
Yep.
There are multiple teams every year that are putting out a ridiculous, comically terrible product, Pearl. Your team was one of them. Did it for years, thought it was a great strategy, tanking to the top, all of that to get Embiid and to get Ben Simmons and whatever. Yeah. And it's just bad basketball. And it's so egregious that now you have nefarious characters who can traffic in it. And then there's another part of this, which is just guys who are involved with manipulating their own numbers. And basketball is obviously the easiest way you could do that. Right? So Terry Rozier says, I'm going to take myself out after 9 minutes, so bet all my unders. Like that in other sports may be a little harder to replicate. Football, I guess you could drop passes and stuff like that. Hockey, I guess you can take yourself out of a game so that your on ice minutes would go down and stuff like that. But basketball is so ripe for this.
I mean, they did one thing about the tanking thing. They did consider the wheel. They looked at it, right? Like the NBA commissioner said, the wheel, where kind of similar to yours, they rotate the top pick, and the NBA decided not to go there. Instead, they flattened the odds because tanking is terrible. And by the way, can we say load management is also very involved in this scandal?
No doubt.
Because load management, again, those are 2 major problems with the NBA. You buy a ticket to see the stars, and LeBron, for example, nothing to do with this. Like LeBron sits out because it's smart basketball to save your legs. So that's why it does feel like there is a very NBA-specific component to the scandal. It can happen in any sport, no doubt, but NBA has these competitive issues that are actually coming to the forefront. The fact that we're linking this to tanking is no surprise at all. Basketball is just very, very tough sport to regulate.
And Perloff mentioned the load management, which is why, for me, my hopeful maybe solution to this would be, I think there needs to be independent medical evaluators for all NBA injuries. Now, technically, they kind of brought this in that when they did the whole anti-tanking, anti-load management. There is technically a third party that's supposed to evaluate injuries that may be fishy. I think it can't be evaluating certain injuries. I think all injuries. I think you need to take guys being sat down by their teams out of the team's hands. I think that you need a medical team, just like the NFL does with concussions, right? The NFL
Independent.
the NFL does not allow the team to decide, okay, you know what, you pass concussion protocol. I think
unless you're Brian Daboll going into the tent with Jackson Dart, telling him to get the hell back out there.
Yeah, you just run right into the blue tent. I think that the NBA needs to do that with just all injuries. I think that teams could have training staffs and medical staffs that, help guys recover. But whether or not you're going to play has to be completely taken out of an NBA team's hands. And if a player is cleared to play and he says, I'm not going to play for whatever reason, then that needs to be flagged for a further investigation or a further probe into why he feels he can't go.
Okay, so what about personal reasons?
I mean, how long can you stretch personal reasons, right? Like I think, even when you did personal reasons for an NBA team, you have to say what it is.
Right.
So
well,
if the guy is...
Sometimes.
I mean,
bereavement, stuff like that. That's obviously, I'm playing a little devil's advocate here, but personal reasons. And then I would also say, what about these athletes, especially ones that are in year 5, 6, 7, 8, you're telling me you don't have tendonitis? You don't have a knee issue?
I mean, it's LeBron sciatica, he probably does have some sciatica issues.
LeBron's in year 25, so I get it. But EJ, I guess I'm saying guys probably do have things that would pop up. Right?
Right. And that will happen, but I think, again,
it would help.
And the NBA players will say this. They say it a ton, that a lot of times, and I always rather repeat this because everyone thinks it's all about the players being soft, that teams will say, you're not playing.
Absolutely.
It's not so much that guys don't want to play.
Because they're tanking.
You're right. They'll say, no, you're not playing because they're tanking, or they want to save somebody for the playoffs.
Right.
That's a reality, too.
But
so taking it out of the team's hands, I almost think is more important than the players' hands. I know for the players, the gambling is important.
Yeah.
But I think both sides, will be helped in major ways if we just have a third independent medical party that decides when are guys playing, when guys aren't playing.
Well, it's so funny to me. In the NFL, when the guy goes in the blue tent, those players are desperate to get back on the field. And to me, that's the difference between the two sports. NBA, the superstars are sitting and saving it for the playoffs. In the NFL, they basically they lie to the doctors so they can go help their team. That's why I think there's an intensity to the NFL that the NBA does not have.
Coming up later in the hour, we're going to talk to Mike Vakernov of The Athletic, who's doing tons of reporting about the story, so we'll get his thoughts on this. Also, the fact that LeBron James he's not being accused of anything, not even close. But the fact that Damon Jones, who was arrested yesterday, was trafficking and selling information about LeBron James means bad things for the NBA. We'll flesh that out in just a moment. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, this NASCAR race preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. Manny Tires, what do we got on tap this weekend?
All right, guys, the round of 8 in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs wraps up with the Xfinity 500 from Martinsville Speedway. Chase Briscoe, he clinched his spot in the Championship 4 after a win at Talladega last week, so we know that he and Denny Hamlin will be racing for the title. But time is running out for William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott. Those 4 are below the cut line, with Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson currently in the safe zone in the top 4, but looking over their shoulder. It's the penultimate race of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. It's the Xfinity 500 for Martinsville Speedway. Green Flag Wave Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Vroom, vroom, Manny. Great job. We're going to get to Gordon Damer in just one moment, but and we'll get back to all the betting scandals and stuff. But there was actually a guy last night in that Chargers-Vikings game that I had never really heard of before.
Monty Vidal.
No, he was great.
Worth a shot.
Are we calling him Vidal?
Whatever.
Al Michael said a couple different ways. Anyway, He was excellent last night. He had over 100 yards rushing, and the Minnesota defense was powerless to stop everything that had to do with the Chargers last night, that over 400 yards of offense. But I didn't know this guy, and then I had to look him up, and it turns out he played in major college football, and I still had not. Ben Yurosek? He's a tight end. He played at Georgia last year. I was like, wait a minute. He dropped a pass yesterday, but that's not surprising. Nobody from Minnesota was doing anything. He's played 4 years at Stanford. He's a tight end. Played last year at Georgia. He finished the season with 185 yards total on the season. He played in 15 games, and he had 0 touchdowns.
So he's like a blocking tight end.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like
He's had 5 tight ends his
tight end.
entire college career. So, yeah, but I never heard from him. And now all of a sudden in a game where you're trailing by 2 scores and you got Jefferson Addison, I was like, Ben Yurosek? I've never heard of this dude.
Yeah, I mean, but have you ever heard of any of the other blocking tight ends? Like, that's one thing, like, teams, what's the guy?
Well, the way that Carson Wentz was under siege last night, I don't think he was really up to speed on the blocking part either.
Yeah, but the Cowboys have a guy who never ever goes out into a pattern. When he's in the game, that means they're going to run. They have a third tight end. I think it's Brevin Spanford. That means they're going to run right behind him every time because he's tight end, but he never catches the ball. Yeah, and then Aranda Gatson. I mean, that was a bad game because I got to tell you, the Vikings O-line ruined the game from the get-go, and Carson Wentz was not good. Once Carson Wentz finally got a little protection, one good throw followed by like, whoa, where was that supposed to go? The touchdown to Jordan Addison was beautiful. Then he came back the next drive and overthrew Justin Jefferson by 15 yards. Talking about a waste of talent. Poor Justin Jefferson is dying on the vine there in Minnesota.
Waste of a season, it looks like. All right, Gordon Damer has the latest. Maybe more from this game, maybe the scandal, maybe a little of both.
A little bit of both. Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. You know, I think Perloff, you said it last hour, there are no winners with this NBA gambling investigation. Not true. There's a podcast, Solve for Why. I've never heard of it before. But in 2023, the host,
Algebra?
Matt Berkey, talked about how there was this poker game going on with Chauncey Billups.
This must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think, 4 years ago, where there was this game. It started in L.A., and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And I had heard about the game. And the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the problem is now it just allows every conspiracy theory to run wild.
Sure.
Right? Like, I don't know what my percentage was of believing that Michael Jordan played minor league baseball because he wanted to play minor league baseball before yesterday.
Yeah.
But now that percentage is certainly lower.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about that with regards to not that scandal necessarily, but with the NBA. And I was wondering, do they have themselves to blame just a little bit? Because they are the one league that you really do believe some of these conspiracies. The frozen envelope is baked in to the lore of the NBA. Hell, when the Mavs got Cooper Flagg this year, we were like, well, this is a makeup because Luka Doncic, they traded him away and they're trying to save the franchise. Whether it's all rational or not, Pearl, the NBA in some ways.
Tim Donaghy. Let's not forget about
exactly. That was
the
proven.
most famous officiating controversy of all time.
No doubt.
And by the way, the thing about the NBA too, you can't say that these are minor. It's not Terry Rozier going under. Tim Donaghy affected the way the playoffs went down. We might have had a different NBA champion if it wasn't for Tim Donaghy. It affects things at the highest possible level.
And now you get Tim Donaghy appearing on News Nation. He says that the ongoing fiasco is just the beginning. And at the quote, there's an even bigger scandal waiting to be unearthed at the college level.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
That's been widely reported that college is coming.
Later.
And by the way, college is so vulnerable because these are young men who have no money until recently. I mean, we know the history of college. If you ever watch a documentary on the Arizona State scandal in the 80s, college is so vulnerable to this.
Yeah, and obviously, I don't really think about the mob every day, but it looks like they're alive and well, This is all the mob that got to guys like Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones. How could the mob not get to college kids who don't have nearly the fame, protection? infrastructure, anything like that. This is bad. And Jonte Porter, when he has now been banned for life by the NBA because he manipulated his own unders props, but that college scandal was part of Jonte Porter's arrest. They said it back then. This is a college thing that's going to has crazy tentacles. And these guys' young lives are going to be, I don't say over before they start, but you can't play in the NBA if right? Like, can you get back into the NBA if you were accused of?
No, you don't.
You can't.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure that's so true because, college is different. You're not in the league yet. I mean, the NBA might not have a legal leg to stand on with that one.
That's true. Well, guys do commit crimes and they're still able to play.
Yeah, I mean,
in
like
the NBA.
you're talking about banning somebody from an opportunity to work. That's not as simple as you just say, "Hey, we don't want you here." But maybe they can. They could try. By the way, EJ, if you'd watch Goodfellas, you would know that the main character, Henry Hill, fixed Boston College basketball games.
Ah, damn it.
This is the one time when your disdain for mob movies has really hurt you in a professional way. Because this is basically one of the plots to Goodfellas. Like, we're just waiting for the helicopter to be following Henry Hill.
Yeah.
And doesn't the poker game kind of strike you of the executive game from The Sopranos?
Definitely.
That's all we've been talking about. Yeah, there was two. I think there were two. Tim Daly was one, an actor who got. But I remember he said they come to your door and they have shark eyes because that was in the indictment that the mafia would use aggression to collect the money. And so I said this to Maggie, like, Chauncey Billups is really involved, if he is involved, in an evil action. Like, this isn't something that you say, Chauncey's a great guy. I've been hearing that from a lot of NBA people. Chauncey Billups is this great dude. That is evil because you are really ruining people's lives.
I just feel like we've missed out on seeing Paulie Walnuts wearing, like, X-ray glasses.
See
the cards
Where was
ahead of
that storyline? Season 8.
Yes. Then there's, of course, the NBA games that are going on. Another double overtime win for the Thunder. Beat the Pacers 141-135. SGA 55.
He's good.
And then Steph Curry hit a three from just outside the logo to force overtime and did not stop there.
Jimmy Butler to Horford, back to Butler. Left wing to Curry. Curls up from down in the paint and hits another three.
I mean, he is just locked in.
Yeah, absolutely locked in. At the call on Warriors Radio, Golden State beats the Nuggets in overtime, 137-131. Steph, 42, scored 20 of the Warriors' final 30 points.
Steph Curry, also pretty good.
I mean, it's
Hashtag hot take.
This has been a good start to the NBA season, and yet...
Yeah, it's overwhelmed.
It is being overwhelmed by this scandal. Thank you so much, Gordon. Meanwhile, we will check in with Mike Vicorna from The Athletic, has been writing about gambling in the NBA, writing about all of this, and doing a lot of reporting on this current scandal. So we'll get his thoughts next. And then we promise we will do actual football, previewing the weekend, some really, really cool games in the NFL and college as well. It's Maggie and Perloff Show. Rah, 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 football.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Wakes up at dawn, coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are tuned in tight to infinity, sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words you find your life, from highlights to the breaking news, every take you can't refuse. In the chat, he's always there with comments, questions, wisdom to share. Oh, pine needles are tuned in tight to infinity, sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. When the games get tough and the stakes are high, Pine Needles knows where to rely on the voices that break it down. Maggie and Perloff never let him down. He's got a playlist all saved up, from epic wins to the close-up, loyal viewer through and through. Pine Needles, this song's for you. always wakes up at dawn.
Big Zoo's got a secret, it's not hard to tell. He loves the Golden Girls, they're his bombshell. From Blanche to Dorothy, Rose to Sophia. His heart's in the villages, living the utopia. Big Zoo's heart is golden, just like his favorite show. In the villages, he's got that retirement glow. Loving older women, they're his cup of tea. Big Zoo and the Golden Girls, that's his fantasy. Every episode, he's laughing out loud. In the villages, he's feeling so proud. Older women with stories, wisdom in their eyes. Big Zoo's living large, no surprise. Big Zoo's heart is golden, just like his favorite show. In the villages, he's got that retirement glow. Loving older women, they're his cup of tea. Big Zoo and the Golden Girls, that's his fantasy. He strolls through the villages every night and day with the Golden Girl spirit leading the way. From shuffleboard to bingo, he's got it all. In the land of retirees, he stands tall. Big Zoo's heart is golden, just like his favorite show. In the villages, he's got that retirement glow. Loving older women, they're his cup of tea. Big Zoo and the Golden Girls, that's his fantasy. So here's to Big Zoo, with his golden grin. In the villages, he's living the win. Loving older women and the Golden Girls too. Big Zoo's got a heart forever true.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's been an interesting week or so for high-profile scandals. You got the poker games, the illegal poker games, Pro, that we found out were rigged. NBA players, former players, and Chauncey Billups were involved, according to the federal government. They were using X-ray goggles, or X-ray glasses, X-ray tables, card shufflers that were rigged. And then you had the heist at the Louvre.
Oh, my God.
The jewel heist. It's kind of been, a time for crime.
I think the jewel heist will be the actual news story of the year, but that's not what we're talking about today.
Got sidelined. Let's check in with Mike Vorkanoff. He is a basketball reporter for The Athletic. He's been covering gambling in this space, gambling scandals in this space, going back months, and now he's all over what we saw yesterday, basically two scandals. One's a basketball insider trading scandal of trading injury information to bettors. The other, these illegal card games that the NBA players also got involved in, certain ones. Mike, thanks so much for the time today. How are you?
Good morning. I like how you said scandals. I feel like there's been too many of them over the last few years.
Yeah, I know. It's becoming, I want to say, an epidemic, but it's not just the NBA, but obviously that's what we're talking about today. I'm curious, what has been the reaction around the league since this shocking indictments became public?
I think it's been a few things, and the people I've spoken to, it's obviously shocked at what happened, the people involved. We've known about the Terry Rozier stuff. It's just the fact that he's being federally investigated for a few months now. But Chauncey Billups getting arrested is obviously surprising, and his involvement into all of this, I think, caught people off guard. There's also wonder of what the NBA does about it, right? Like, this is going to be a short and long-term issue for the league. They have to, I don't know if they can get it under control. There's a lot of variables that are out of their power, but what happens next? And obviously the other thing that people are talking about now is the NBA is facing issues on multiple fronts, between this and the cap circumvention investigation to aspiration. So how do they handle all of it in totality? There's one punishment. get, like, does the fact that they have now this problem also factor into how they come down on the Clippers if they do find they need to punish them? So there's a lot of stuff going on in the NBA, and everyone's kind of wondering what's next, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about that. Kawhi might be a big winner because now he's on the back burner. Mike, I have a question.
The Clippers were accused of circumventing the salary cap for people who may not remember.
Mike, you said we're talking about the future. Is there early thinking? I know it's only been a day on the scope of this. Like, are other NBA players possibly going to be named in future indictments?
I think that's hard to tell. Yesterday, asking at the press conference and then also afterward, if we could see future arrests, I got a terse no comment, not a no, not a yes, just a no comment. And asking the U.S. District Attorney for the Eastern District, he said the investigation's still ongoing. It didn't seem like they ruled anything out. There were some unnamed co-conspirators in the sports gambling investigation that seemed related to the NBA. There were obviously a player on the Magic who shared information. We don't know, what the intent was behind that, but there are more ties to the NBA and to the sports gambling ring without people who have been named, and we don't know where the investigation goes from here.
Mike Perloff is joining us from The Athletic. He's been covering the story, and you were at the press conference yesterday, Mike, with the DOJ, the Kash Patel, and all the law enforcement?
Yeah, I didn't expect to spend my morning in a Brooklyn federal courthouse. But, there you are.
Yeah, well, no one usually expects to on those days. But yes, very interesting. So, one of the things I've been talking to Perloff about this morning and everyone on the show is that, with all the problems now that are at Commissioner Adam Silver's feet, and believe me, he's got tons. I thought the fact that Damon Jones, was basically an unpaid volunteer assistant only around the Los Angeles Lakers in 2022, 23, 24, because he's close to LeBron James. And then he was trafficking in LeBron James's injury information and basically turning around and selling that to bettors and alleged criminals. To me, that is a huge part of this scandal. Not that LeBron did anything wrong. He did nothing wrong. He's not being accused of anything. But the fact that basically the mafia was within an arm's length of the face of the league and someone who has been the face of the league for 20 years, to me, was alarming for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I meant by, like a thing that I don't know if the NBA can get under control is how do you control all the people around your players and your coaches and your executives, right? Damon Jones is a longtime friend. He was in this unofficial assistant coach position. There's a lot of people like that across the league who have access, who have relationships with NBA players, and you can't just cut them all off, and you can't force players and coaches and execs to cut everyone out of their life who doesn't work for an NBA team. How you go about basically trying to enforce all these rules and creating a strict liability, like that's hard. That's an issue that I don't know if the NBA or any league can solve.
Mike, do you think Commissioner Adam Silver survives this ultimately?
I think so. I think, I know this is the NBA that's in the spotlight right now, but I think this is ultimately not an NBA-specific problem. Every professional sports league is taking the money, right? Every professional sports league is in business with sports gambling. Every professional sports league has it promoted during their games in their arena. Like Gary Bettman was at an event in September, and he's asked about sports gambling, and his response was basically, I'm going to paraphrase here, like, yeah, it's not great, but hey, the money's there, right? Like, this is the trade-off that they're making. And I don't think this is an Adam Silver specific issue. And I think that, it's just that he has to deal with it most openly because of all the stuff that hit the NBA.
Mike Perloff is joining us from The Athletic. He's covering this story. What was the most surreal moment yesterday being in that Brooklyn courthouse with the director of the FBI and all of those law enforcement officials? What was the most surreal moment of that, Mike?
Being in the same room and a few feet apart from the FBI director was certainly surreal. That's not something you expect to do when you cover the NBA. But honestly, it was when I heard that an NBA head coach was going to be arrested as part of this. So, there's a lot of ways I thought this investigation might go. And I think players were always, I kind of assumed that there would be players getting arrested. But when there's an NBA head coach that was arrested and charged as part of this, that kind of let me know the magnitude of all this and just how big of a story it would be.
Mike, the other part of this is, the NBA, we're talking, Perloff just asked you, is Adam Silver going to survive this? And, it's not just an NBA specific problem, but that's who's in the crosshairs today. clearly the league's going to have to take some action here, right? They're going to have to do something. And there are things they could clean up for sure. Is this looking at, how going back to trying to reimagine the draft so that teams aren't tanking, so that maybe there are more, load management? Like, what are some of the areas do you think that the NBA is going to be forced to confront because there's going to be action demanded, I would think, by the public now that they've been aired out in this scandal?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've been thinking about lately. It's just, the first thing that comes to mind is like, how do you make the information flow more airtight, right? But then again, it's hard to do that. You tell someone, hey, you're not playing tomorrow. Who knows where that information then goes, right? The tanking stuff, it was interesting that, the bettors were able to basically kind of weaponize tanking, right? Like finding out, hey, who's not playing in this game because they're tanking. Let's bet on that. Injury information, obviously, is something that's weaponizable. But, I think the biggest thing is prop bets seem to be at the heart of this. And right, that's easily exploitable. That's something that's within the control of one player.
Yep.
A first half betting spread, a full game betting spread, we know one player can have a big effect on a game, but that's a lot. So it's hard to manipulate. But if someone's over unders, that's a little bit easier. And we've seen that manipulated. And so the NBA and, they've pushed for no prop bets on two-way guys, but even the two-way players making $500,000 a year. Terry Rozier he's on a $90 million contract, right? Maybe it's not the size of the salary that matters when you're determining who can be exploited here. So I feel like there's something to be done about prop bets, but I don't know if the NBA has the power to just get the sportsbooks to stop taking prop bets, right? That's revenue for them. That's how they make their money. So how are you going to tell them to make less money potentially?
It's interesting, Mike. We're talking about the scandal today, and I think we'll be talking about it for a long time. But it's also, I said yesterday to Maggie, the new face of the NBA has arrived. To me, this should be the main story of the season so far. Should be Victor Wembanyama. I feel like LeBron is a distant memory now, and maybe I'm overstating it, but not just as from a competitive standpoint, but just a guy that everybody wants to see. Do you feel like this would be Wembanyama's league if we weren't talking about this betting scandal?
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday night, I feel like that was all the talk, right? It was Wemby's 40-15 game in his third season debut. And, everyone's like, oh my God, this is insane. Is he going to take over the league? And it's a legit question. And that's all been erased. I haven't seen much basketball talk in the last 24 hours, right? Everyone is focusing on this. And the timing of the arrest sure seems interesting to coincide with the start of the NBA season. And so, to your point, I think we'd be talking about Wemby and we'd be talking about OKC and all that type of stuff, but that's not what we're talking about.
Last one for you, Mike, and this was just a small one, though, from the press conference yesterday, and you said the timing of this now is raising some eyebrows and trying to score political points, potentially, and I know Stephen A. Smith is alleging that, but Kash Patel, the FBI director, said a weird line yesterday. He said, I know a lot of people are not going to be happy about this because, they kind of exposed this in the NBA, and I thought to myself, who wouldn't be happy about it? Everybody wants to root out corruption, whether it's your favorite player or not. What do you think he meant by that?
I didn't focus much on it. Mostly I focused on what was in the indictments and less on what was being said in the press conferences. Those things are all it feels like messaging wars.
Yeah.
I think someone followed up with him after and he's like, well, people don't like when you go after, players like this. And maybe some people don't, but to your point, if there's criminality going on, I don't think anyone really minds that you're, taking it out and dealing with the people who are throwing games. And, I know the sportsbooks who were the victims, according to the indictments at least, right? Those are the victims according to the federal government in all this. But really it's the people who might have bet on these games and not known that, it was being manipulated and they never had a chance, right? I don't think anyone will really mind if there's a level playing field in a betting situation either.
I was going to say, was it the Colorado Buffalo fans who are our big Chauncey guys? The Detroit Piston fans are not going to be happy with you? Anyway, Mike, thanks so much for your hard work on this story. Mike Vorkunov of The Athletic. Vorkunov, thank you so much. And we love reading you in The Athletic. You do a great job covering the business of basketball.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
There you go. There's Mike. I remember reading Mike when he was covering the Brooklyn Nets during the Durant-Harden years, but we'd have to cover that another time.
Yeah. I don't. I do remember that team, and if you bet on that team, that's your own fault.
That's
That's
on
on
people
you.
lost money on that one. Okay, lots to do. We're going to take a quick break. We do have a whole slate of NFL games to preview. We've got tons of college games to preview as well. It is a Friday around here.
The games go on, Maggie.
Yeah, that's true. You're, of course, welcome to weigh in on the scandal at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, we'll preview every NFL game on Sunday in 60 seconds or less. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Just a jaw-dropping day, easy for me to say, in the NBA yesterday. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Twin scandals that are now rocking the association. Basically, two different tentacles, and probably many more to come. But the FBI laid out yesterday that there have been, insider trading information essentially that happened in the NBA where either current players, former players, or a current coach in Chauncey Billups were trading information allegedly to bettors, criminals, the mob, so that they could bet on teams and games where they had injury information that the public did not have. Then there's a second part of the scandal, and that also has to do with certain NBA players getting involved with rigged poker games, high-stakes poker games that were illegal, but where Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, former player and close associate with LeBron James, used as, quote, face cards, celebrities to lure in unsuspecting fish, as they're called, to come to these poker games thinking that they're square, they're rigged in a very almost like James Bond villain kind of way, with X-ray tables, X-ray glasses, card shufflers that are rigged, and they were robbing basically these people of money. And Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones were both getting part of the cut. I mean, it is an incredible scandal, Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The two scandals are two scandals, but they're also one scandal in some sense, that there are defendants that are in both. And the fact that Chauncey Billups, it's not much of a stretch. If you get caught up in a poker scandal, you could easily then turn to fixing games. I mean, we're swimming in the same waters, and that's, I think, one of the scariest parts. This idea that NBA players, we know they love to gamble. We know the stories about the planes, that they could run into gambling problem in one area that has nothing to do with the NBA and then bring it to the sport. And nothing can kill a sport more than when the fans are questioning, is what I'm seeing legit? It's actually a very, very dangerous time for the league. And obviously, to their credit, they're taking it with, as a quote, utmost seriousness. I think that was their line. They better. Otherwise, they're in massive, massive trouble.
Yeah, I hope they weren't like, we'll get around to it when we get around to it. But here's the thing, what's funny about that. You're saying about fixing games. That's like the broad thing that would, is terrible. But in this day and age, you can almost get so micro about it. You don't even need to actually fix the game.
Well, I bet fixing the game affecting the game, like in a way.
It's because, to be fair, the NBA fixes their own games sometimes. And what I mean by that is because tanking and load management have become such a strategy in this league.
But that's built into the spread.
You're right. You're telegraphing in, we are not trying to win this game. And that's what I mean by, in effect, they're fixing their own game.
But that's not a fix, because any bettor knows that that last year the teams were tanking. Like, everybody knows that. So there's nothing wrong with tanking and fixing games have nothing to do with each other, in my mind.
If you let me finish, this is what I was going to say. Then you have access to certain information, though, right?
But why? Everyone knows when a team is tanking.
No. What I'm saying, Chauncey Billups was co-conspirator number 8 that we think is Chauncey Billups, would be able to tell the mob Damian Lillard's not playing in this game before the public knows about it.
Right. Well,
and then Damian Lillard was out the rest of the season. Now, they didn't lose every single game. And in fact, in the indictment, there is one time when Damon Jones, again, who was a unpaid volunteer assistant coach, basically, for the Lakers, because he's so close with LeBron James, he was around the Lakers just because of LeBron. and he was trafficking and selling LeBron's injury information and other guys to bettors and potentially and to criminals, allegedly. One day, he gave this information to these bettors and said LeBron James and Anthony Davis are not going to play. Well, game time comes. The guy puts $100,000 on the Lakers to lose. Game time comes. LeBron James and Anthony Davis do end up playing. The guy lost his bet and then went back to Damon Jones and said, hey, I want my money back because you gave me bad intel. You're not going to get it right all the time, but where the NFL seems almost like so ripe for this is because they're telling their fans, some franchises are telling their fans, we're not trying to win these games anyway. Right. And it makes you just realize that like they have a real problem here because you want your games to, of course, be on the level, but the NBA, because of tanking and load management, makes you call into question results all the time.
No, see, I actually disagree with you. Tanking is built into the spread. Everyone knows. I mean, I'm a Sixers fan.
Yeah.
Nobody was betting on the Sixers and surprised when they got killed. Everyone knows who's tanking. So, like, if you're betting on a team like the Blazers when they were tanking to try and get Wemby, if you bet on that team, you knew that there was a massive risk that Lillard wouldn't play. So, everybody knows the deal here. Nobody's being like, oh, my God, I can't believe they actually don't look like they're trying to win. That's all known. That's all in the spread.
Yeah.
Fixing a game means that you are doing something that is information that is totally not known. And load management is probably more of a risk. But also, too, if LeBron's on the road and you're putting your life saving on a game, then you know what? You deserve to lose because you have to be aware of load management. Bettors are sophisticated. Everyone knows this is happening.
So there's another story that came out. We're getting all these after the fact. People are digging up kind of like old podcasts maybe that talked about Chauncey Billups being part of a card game or fishy things that happened. And I saw it was a radio host in Boston one night when the Celtics were playing the Trailblazers. This was a couple years ago. Maybe it might have been last year actually. And the spread was 9. Okay, so they thought Celtics win by 9. Guy bets on the Blazers, right, to cover. Games, basically they're down by 8 with 20 seconds left to go. Celtics start dribbling the ball out, right? Not even attempting a shot. Game's over, basically. We're just waiting until it hits triple zeros. And for some reason, the Blazers fouled the ball handler with 4 seconds left. Yeah. Sent the dude to the line. He hits 2 free throws, and all of a sudden, the Blazers win by 10.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, the Celtics win by 10. Blazers lose by 10. And anyone who had Blazers plus 9 lost that bet.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy stuff that was going on in plain sight. And now you look and see who was the coach of the Blazers at that time, Chauncey Billups, and we're wondering what more could come from this. Absolutely fixing point spreads. I mean, just anything anything you can imagine is now on the table.
Who was the guy who was caught a few weeks ago? There was video of a guy who was like dunking like crazy in garbage time.
Malik Beasley.
It was Malik Beasley.
He's under investigation right now by the NBA.
But Malik Beasley actually is not associated with this. It was interesting. And then the clips went viral of him doing all sorts of crazy things in the last 30 seconds of meaningless games. It's interesting that Malik Beasley wasn't in this because then you wonder, too, when guys get arrested, do they squeal?
Yep. Well, 34 people were arrested yesterday across both of these scandals, so I have a feeling you're going to get a lot of canaries who are going to try to save their skin.
Right, and then it's going to amplify, and then you're going to have a much bigger number.
And by the way, so there are 34 people arrested yesterday. Again, 2 scandals here. One of people trading insider information about injuries to affect bets, injuries and info that was not available to the public. And the second, these rigged poker games straight out of a mob movie, feels like. Or like I said, James Bond, something like that, a Bond villain, and loading up these poker games to defraud people. 34 people arrested, Pearl, but there were also 8 co-conspirators who were unnamed. Do you think we're going to get all the names of those people? One looks very much like Chauncey Billups. They basically describe him to a T.
Yeah, it's co-conspirator number 8 has to be Chauncey Billups. I mean, the details are so specific. To me, like, he's by far and away the biggest name in this case. Think about this, Maggie. If it was Terry Rozier and Damon Jones, would we be talking about this in the same way? The fact that they got a Hall of Famer and an active coach is such a game changer. And by the way, somebody that I loved as a player. You know, I was a legit fan of Chauncey. I love that Detroit team that won the title under Larry Brown. So to me, like, he is really the face of this for now, unless there's a bigger face later.
Well, I agree with you that Chauncey's the biggest name because he's an active coach and he was, luring these unsuspecting people into these loaded card games. So obviously, he's probably going to be looking at jail time if he's proven guilty. But the fact that Damon Jones was so close to LeBron, I think that even if Chauncey wasn't part of this, it's Damon Jones, but giving out information about close friend LeBron James. It reminded me so much about Shohei. Shohei Ohtani, face of a sport. It's his interpreter and close friend who's got the gambling addiction. He's the one who's stealing from Shohei. And I found it weird, and I still have a raised eyebrow, that his interpreter is making 400 bets a day or whatever, and a comical amount, and Shohei had no clue. They're together all the time, no clue. And I wonder if LeBron James deserves the same skepticism. Playing cards with Damon Jones or understanding that Damon Jones likes to do this or whatever, and you keep him around you. Did you have any idea that he had mob ties?
Wow.
Like, there are questions here for LeBron. Not that LeBron's being accused of anything, but did you have any idea that this was swirling around your friend?
If you ask LeBron, he wouldn't even have to answer that question. I think he would do the talcum powder clap. I had nothing to do with this. I know nothing what you're talking about. And all the stories have said that LeBron is, you know what? I got to be honest. I think he's going to stay totally clear of this because every story you read says LeBron had no idea. Whoever is reporting that or getting the word out, I think LeBron stays totally clean. Am I being naive here?
Well, Shohei at least had to do a press conference and answer some very pointed questions.
I don't think LeBron even has to do that. Read any story, and reporters are going out of their way to say LeBron had no idea.
Okay, so tinfoil hat time. And I'm always a skeptic. You guys know this about me. The sciatica.
Oh, there we go. Now we're talking.
Manny just looked at me funny. I'm just saying.
Nerve damage.
It's hard. It's literally a pain in the butt, in the back. It's hard to prove. Like, it's not an MRI. I don't think it's like an MRI type of thing, but he's got sciatica. It's totally believable. And it's something that is delaying LeBron joining the team this season.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I think there was probably a heads up at some point that something is swirling here. Right? Because the FBI is questioning people. It starts to get out that, hey, someone's poking around this, that, the other. Like, have you seen Chauncey Billups? He looks like he hasn't slept in a year and a half. This dude is wearing it on his face.
Coaching the Blazers.
Yeah, well, fair.
I love Shaden Sharp, but he's not enough to put Chauncey Billups in a good mood.
So I just wonder, is LeBron, because he's not involved, but one of his close associates is involved, is he just like, you know what? I'm not going to play basketball for a couple weeks. Let this thing die down. I don't have to be contractually obligated to do press conferences right now. I don't have to be at my locker. Reporters can't come up to me and ask me questions. He can hide right now.
What LeBron can do, actually, is probably go to the Birmingham Barons and try to play baseball for a few months, and then maybe that'll fix things, smooth things over, and then he comes back to play basketball.
Yeah.
You know what?
Talents to
do the Birmingham Barons do 10-day contracts? Once his sciatica's done, he can
No,
Terry
LeBron,
Francona still coaching him?
I'm sure they can do something for LeBron.
You guys forgot, LeBron would have been the greatest tight end ever to play the game.
True.
In football.
Let's get him on the Browns.
I am not as comfortable with
Did he play QB?
Yeah. I'm not as comfortable with the tinfoil hat, but man, that theory makes a lot of sense, Maggie. Oh my God. You got me. That makes perfect sense. It's he answering the questions in the locker room. Very, very convenient.
I mean, and Shams said that he won't be back until mid-November at the earliest.
By the time this whole scandal blows over, because this is society now. We move on from these things very fast. By mid-November, this is going to be a distant memory. Well, not for Billups, but
I think by mid-November, he also can probably skirt these questions easier, too.
Yep.
Like,
more information. I'm not at liberty to discuss.
Exactly.
Sure.
By mid-November, there'll be 4 games under 500 as well.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to take the fifth in front of the reporter saying, I can't discuss. That implies that he has legal reasons he can't discuss. That's the worst thing he could do. I thought it was just load management. Usually he takes, 3 weeks off with a quote-unquote, it's always a groin injury. He load manages right before the playoffs. I thought they're like, well, why do we need LeBron out here? Dude's 40. We need to save his legs. But you're right. I am not going to completely absolve him. But have you noticed the energy in the story saying LeBron knew nothing, LeBron knew nothing, LeBron knew nothing?
Yeah, I'd be getting that out there too if I were Clutch Sports or if I'm the NBA. I don't want my biggest star being wrapped up in something like this. Just like Major League Baseball came out really fast and exonerated Shohei Ohtani. I mean, everyone was jumping to a microphone to say how Ohtani's the victim here. And listen, he probably is. Like, I get it. Addiction is terrible. People lie. They defraud.
Yeah.
Damon Jones is literally in the clutches of the mob, okay? Like, it's a tough spot to be in, and obviously you're going to hide it from people. I just always question about Ohtani. He came out and said that he had no idea that Ipe had ever placed one single bet. And I just find that hard to believe when you spend that amount of time with him.
I would try to wrap my head around that, but I'm too excited to see Shohei play tonight because thank God they put that under the rug so I get to see him play against the Blue Jays.
Good job, Manfred.
By the way, would you kill Rob Manfred? 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs in the same game? I don't care what you did. Get out there, buddy. Here's the mound.
Go out in a pinstripe jumpsuit. We don't care if you're in the California Penal League.
Did you see how far that home run went? I don't care if he was actually the one who was rigging the poker games and going to the house and enforcing the guy. He's playing baseball.
He engineered the X-ray glasses.
He
actually made them.
I know, Ohtani. He's got the patent.
I mean, listen, if Victor Wembanyama was somehow implicated in this, then I would put it as Adam Silver's duty to get him out of that so I can watch him play this year. Sorry, I'm being cynical. But
is there a mob in France? It's got to be, right? There's a mob everywhere.
Let's be honest. If you want to bring down LeBron, you saw Luka play the other day. They don't need LeBron. He's very vulnerable as a player right now.
Careful, LeBron.
No, I'm just talking competitively. Like, I do not think this Lakers team with LeBron, I do not think he's going to be good this year. So he can stay out as long as he wants. Maybe I'm wrong because he was pretty good last year. He was amazing last year.
So there's like a funny detail here that Gilbert Arenas, former player, right, a successful media personality now, he got arrested over the summer because he was allegedly holding illegal card games in his home. And I just love that his defense now is like, I'm not involved in this. Like, the mobsters I was dealing with were Israeli, not Italians. It's not the Cosa Nostra. It's a totally different mobster. Like, oh, all right.
Oh, boy.
It's just funny to me.
That absolves him from everything.
Sure. He didn't have anything to do with this. Different mobs. Okay. We're going to get to our NFL in 60. Quickly, though, Bills and Syracuse has an idea for how to stop tanking in the NBA, which is kind of part of the story as well. What's up, Bill?
Not so much. Yeah, my thought on that is, what if you do away with the lottery and you seed the teams for the draft by the team with the best record that doesn't make the playoffs gets the first pick? Therefore, you're rewarded for attempting to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Bill, I get what you're talking about. You can still manipulate it, though, at the very end. And thank you. It's not a bad idea, right? Yeah. You give a high draft pick or the number one pick to a team that at least is trying, in theory, not a team that is not trying.
Well, right. The idea that's been out there is after a certain date in the season, I think 50 games in, then you have a competition. Whoever wins the most of the teams that are in the lottery gets that number one pick. So instead of tanking, you're playing your hardest, and that makes it people who buy tickets are getting a good product. By the way. Yeah,
sorry. No, one thing that will be interesting with that is, remember, a couple years ago, you had the Dallas Mavericks essentially tank the last few games of a season so that their pick did not go to the Knicks and would have been lottery protected. They wanted to be in the lottery rather than make the playoffs. So that would be the only thing that would worry me is, again, if you're the 10th playing team or you're a playing team, right, and like they are eligible for lottery too, do you tank playing games so that you can be the number one pick in the draft potentially? Like, that's where the problem comes in. I think Pearl made a good point. You have to have a cutoff date earlier in the season that would maybe dictate, all right, now that we've played this many games, these are the teams that are eligible for this lottery.
Mark Cuban, you bum.
One thing that I sort of disagree with, Maggie, I thought you had a really interesting idea about how to fix the lottery system.
I said every team gets the number one pick on a rotating 30-year scale, but you could trade the number one pick if you want, but you are guaranteed to get it once every 30 years.
And you pointed out that the teams in the finals last year, the Thunder and the Pacers, were not built around a number one overall pick. But the number one overall pick, it's actually back as being really impactful. Look at the last 6 years. Zion to New Orleans. I know it didn't work out, but that was crazy impactful. That lifted the franchise. Anthony Edwards to Minnesota turned them around. Cade Cunningham to Detroit completely turned around that franchise. Paolo Banchero turned around the Magic. Wembanyama to the Spurs. Cooper Flag is different. But I'm saying if those teams weren't in the position to be number one, they might have a decade of irrelevance. So the reason you have a draft is that you can get some parity and that teams just don't go away. And Detroit doesn't get Cade Cunningham in your system. It just wouldn't happen.
Well, they might get Wembanyama because it might be their year to get Wembanyama. It might be their year to get Anthony Edwards. Like everyone is getting a bite at the apple.
But everyone's getting a good bite at the apple, including the good teams. You're not. I know it's rewarding. You need the very bad teams to get that number one pick because otherwise those very bad teams, they can't just rely on a 1 in 30 chance. They're just going to disappear. There's going to be such a lack of parity, and that's a big problem for the NBA.
Pearl, I hate to break it to you. There's a lack of parity now because teams are tanking and they're not getting the number one pick. The Dallas Mavericks had like a 1.4% chance to get it, and they got it. Utah is the one that should have got it, right? Portland, the one, these teams that were seriously tanking, you would think should get air quotes rewarded. And they're not. So my idea, every team gets a number one pick once every 30 years, obviously, because that's how many teams there are. And then picks 2 through 6, the next 5 picks, all rotate every 5 years. So you are guaranteed, at least you're getting some top talent. Like Chet Holmgren was the 2nd overall pick. Like you're still going to get good talent to beef up your roster. It's just that number one pick has to rotate.
I think you're first of all, you have to play the odds. It's not a perfect science. Yeah, Utah did not win, but you have to play the odds. It's a numbers game. Second of all, like there's so many years where the number 2 pick, there's a cliff between 1 and 2. Who was second behind Victor Wembanyama?
Dylan Harper. No,
that's this year. That's
Scoot Henderson, who's with the Blazers.
Yeah, non-impactful. Who is number 2?
But that's also because the Blazers also stink.
No, it is not. No, Scoot Henderson was not Victor Wembanyama. That's because there's a massive fall off in talent. Anybody could have gone number 2. Didn't even have to be Scoot. And then this year, we'll look at what's the drop off between Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper, a player the Spurs don't even need. Like there was so I'm saying the difference between 1 and 2 in NBA history is massive. Who at number 2 behind LeBron? Darko Milicic.
Yeah, well, that was a mess up. I mean,
yeah, but generally though, there are many years where the 1 is very important. Shaq, LeBron, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm just saying the 1 is a big deal in the NBA, much more than other sports.
And there's the time when Greg Oden went over Kevin Durant, and there's a time when Michael Jordan was the number 2 pick.
Then why do teams tank?
Because they think this is the only way. They would be forced to adjust their strategy if you could just think outside the box and reimagine the whole thing. Because, Pearl, it is sometimes we feel like the NBA is 1 on 5, and it feels like that when it's Victor Wembanyama maybe and and LeBron James. But oftentimes you actually do need to build a complete team. The Warriors didn't have, until Andrew Wiggins was a former number 1 pick, they were a dynasty without a number 1 pick. You have the Knicks right now are a favorite in the East without haven't been in the lottery in a long time. You have to also complement that player with a good player. The Orlando Magic, if it was just as easy as Paolo Banchero, it's not. You have to actually put a good team around him too.
I'll give you a counter strategy. Have David Robinson get hurt and draft Tim Duncan. Be Cleveland and get LeBron James. I mean, I think it's actually, if you look at the history of the NBA, it's a better strategy to get the number 1 pick than to build an all-around team like the Thunder. Maybe in today's NBA because of the way the soft cap and the aprons work, but generally, come on, the number. It's a sport where 1 player makes all the difference. So the tanking is a sound strategy, and I know you're making a good argument, but you're not smarter than Sam Hinkie. That guy was a genius. There's a reason people tank.
Pearl, even LeBron James thinks his draft lottery was rigged.
Well, it might be rigged, but tanking works. I mean, that's the reality.
If it's rigged, how does it work?
But Cleveland was bad, and they got LeBron James.
LeBron James.
The Sixers were bad, and they got Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. Okay, move on.
And Joel Embiid.
But they
still couldn't get to the finals.
NBA teams are not
conference finals.
NBA teams are not tanking because they don't think it's in their best interest. And listen, I know what you're saying, and you're right there. You have the Thunder as a counterpoint, even though they had the number 2 pick. But I'm telling you, if I'm an owner and my GM's like, well, you know what? I want to tank. I'll be like, go ahead, sir.
Well, that's because they have to play within what the laws and rules are now. If you changed them,
then
you could have something better. 888-710-4ISN. I think 888-710-4476. Football. Lovely football. Scandal-free football.
Well, I mean, hopefully.
I kid. Football's had tons of scandals. But that does not factor into Week 8, which we will preview next. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
right, welcome back. Maggie Perloff Show. We're breaking down the NBA betting scandal, but we also have a huge NFL weekend. I mean, it's getting pretty serious around the league now. I think this is a kind of a make or break week in multiple games. And what we do here at the Maggie and Perloff Show is we go through every game, and both Maggie and I pick one storyline we are watching. All right, EJ, why don't you get us started, bud?
All right, so let's head to Cincinnati, where the winless Jets will travel to face the Bengals. Jets still unsure who's playing quarterback.
Why are we
I was about to say,
there?
let's not.
Can we go anywhere else?
I wish we didn't.
Hey, EJ, are Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner both not playing? I saw they're probable right now.
I think
They
Garrett
didn't practice.
Wilson is working his way back. I'm not sure about Sauce. Sauce is in concussion protocol.
I saw Tyrod Taylor was at his locker and said, I don't know if I'm playing.
And
I
he
don't
does
know.
not know.
Is that an act? Or like you're saying, I understand the gamesmanship, which is what Aaron Glenn said. I'm doing gamesmanship. But I think you might want to tell Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor.
My biggest thing here is actually we're on Shedeur Sanders' watch. Dylan Gabriel, despite beating the Miami Dolphins last week, he has not been playing so great that he is. Oh, you said Bengals? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're doing
just
Browns.
Bengals.
I'm sorry. I went to the Browns. Let's go Bengals. It's Joe Flacco's world. We're all living in it.
Yeah.
He may have had the best line of the season when he talked about he used to see older single guys sitting at a bar eating dinner and think they look so lonely, and now he realizes that guy was in heaven. Yeah, Flacco. Sorry, I thought it was Browns.
Oh, good. Let's go to Atlanta, where the Dolphins will be facing the Falcons. Falcons trying to bounce back after the tough Sunday night loss last week to San Francisco.
So the Falcons are moving the ball well, but they're not scoring. Bijan Robinson is going to run for 1,000 yards in one game here. Miami's got the worst run defense. People talking about Tua, that defense has quit because they won't tackle him. Bijan's going to go crazy. I wish I had him on my fantasy team. This is going to be one of his biggest games of the year.
Bijan Robinson accounts for 40% of the Falcons' scrimmage yards this season. That's the highest in the NFL. And he leads the league with 152 scrimmage yards per game. The Dolphins rank last against the run. To Perloff's point, he's going to run roughshod. And Tua is starting this game, but why? Why? Has he earned it? Does he show that he is of starting caliber this season? I would say no. Let's see Quinn Ewers.
Do we have to
again.
see Quinn Ewers? Quinn Ewers was a 7th-round pick. It's not like the NFL is clamoring for
Let's see
him.
Zach Wilson, I guess.
Let's see.
Let's not.
Let's see Maggie's Cleveland Browns, who will be in New England to face the Patriots. Dylan Gabriel again getting that star. Patriots looking to move to 6-2.
Yes, Shedeur Sanders watch.
Oh, really?
The first time I'm saying that today. Shedeur Sanders watch. Dylan Gabriel Pearl hasn't played so great despite the win over Miami last week. And so I think Shedeur could happen at any moment.
Yeah, to me, actually, I'm watching the other side. So Drake May's looking like an MVP candidate. The Patriots are unstoppable. They are playing like Notre Dame's ACC schedule. It is joke after joke after joke. You know, they're coming off games against New Orleans and Tennessee. Now they're facing a bona fide defensive juggernaut in the Browns. I wonder if Drake May looks great, obviously, against teams like the Panthers or whatever. Let's see him play against the Browns. Big test.
Some people are calling this the Manny Perloff Bowl Part 2.
Yeah.
Giants go to Philly to face the Eagles.
So the Eagles have gotten a lot of press this week. Again, I'm going to turn to the other team. Cam Scatterbo is fascinating me, the Giants running back. It feels like he is a massive ball that is starting to roll downhill. And there are games where the Eagles have trouble tackling, especially if you get past Jalen Carter. I fear this game. Obviously, the Giants already beat the Eagles. I fear this game in a big way because I feel like the Giants will try to push around an Eagles back five that does not tackle well all the time.
That's right. Who's daddy?
Yeah, we just saw this game 2 weeks ago, and the Giants won, and it kind of launched the Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo frenzy that at least has taken over New York City. But here's my thing. How are the Eagles going to handle success? Because you're right, everyone's talking them up now after the big win in Minnesota.
Well, they did win a Super Bowl, too, last year.
I'm just saying there are issues this year, and so how are they going to handle coming off of a really good game? And then for the Giants, how do you rebound after losing a heartbreaking game in Denver where you had a lead and choked it away? It was an insane game, and I'm curious if the Giants actually, are they over it? Can they regroup? Can they use it as motivation? Or is this just the excuse they've been looking for to sign out on the season?
They better be over it.
All right, raise your hands if everybody thought that the Bills and Panthers would have the same amount of wins at 4. Anybody?
Oh.
Me. I play some baseball.
I don't really believe him on that. But we'll see who gets the win number 5 when the Bills travel to Charlotte to face those Panthers.
This is a scary game for Buffalo, and that's not just me being a Bills fan and being superstitious.
Yeah.
The Bills' run defense is atrocious. Do you guys believe me now? Do you believe me now?
No.
Yeah, I'm a believer.
Okay, well, the Carolina Panthers actually can run the ball, and it doesn't matter whether it's Bryce Young or whether it's your guy Andy Dalton, Pearl.
Yeah.
They can run the ball. It's exactly the Bills' kryptonite. And by the way, the Bills want to run the ball. That's the secret to the Bills. They actually do want to run the ball, and the Carolina Panthers' run defense is awesome. So whoever's saying this is going to be an easy game for Buffalo, you are not paying attention.
You would be afraid that the Bills would lose an inter-squad scrimmage. You are afraid of every opponent.
No ones that match up badly against them.
Which in your mind is everybody. But, okay, can I give you a stat via our buddy Warren Sharp,
Sure.
the analytics guy? Josh Allen has surprisingly struggled versus pressure. He is 19th in the league, but when he's clean, he has 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, and is top 76%. The Panthers are dead last in pressure rate. They do not get after the quarterback. This is going to be, I'm telling you right now, the beginning of a run for the Bills. Josh Allen, I know they haven't been great on the road. Josh Allen is going to take the team on his back, and the Bills, no more of that early season losses to Atlanta. They're coming after this bye.
Also, it's supposed to be, never mind, the forecast changed. It was supposed to rain a little bit on Sunday, which was going to throw, no pun intended, cold water on your passing game statistics there, but it looks like the weather's now cleared up.
Lamar Jackson's been a limited participant in practice this week, but the Ravens can certainly use him at 1-5. They'll be hosting the Bears in Baltimore this week.
So, I mean, I know obviously betting is a controversial topic today, but the Ravens are almost a touchdown favorite in this game, which obviously speaks to Lamar Jackson. Everyone thinks he's going to play. And the lack of respect on the Bears, especially on the road. To me, this is about the desperation level of the Baltimore Ravens. The whole season comes down to this game, and will we see that desperation on the field? Will they play knowing their season is on the line?
If they don't, then it's probably a huge indictment of John Harbaugh. And, Lamar, I think, will do everything he possibly can to play in this game because clearly that line makes it look like, at least Las Vegas thinks, that he's going to play.
Yeah, he will. I mean, listen, with the season on the line, he's already practicing. There's zero chance he's not out there.
Here's what I'm wondering. Bears offense has been sneaky good the last couple weeks, all right? They're finding their groove a little bit, Pearl, and it's on the run game. It's DeAndre Swift and running the ball. The Ravens, whether they get Lamar back or not, are still one of the worst defenses in the league. The Bears could run all over them.
Well, that's true, but Caleb Williams has not been consistently accurate. So when you said that, I'm like, I don't know that Caleb's looking that much better. But you're right, DeAndre Swift all of a sudden can run. That is a big factor.
Kyle Monungai.
Yeah, big factor.
Rutgers.
Another quarterback limited participation in practice this week is Brock Purdy. Unsure if he's going to play when the Niners travel to the struggling Houston Texans.
Well, I was a big proponent, like Carson Wentz is going to do better for the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy, and that did not work out for me. So I'm wondering if my confidence in Mac Jones is maybe a little overplaced here. This is funny. This will be the first time that Ryans and Shanahan face off against each other. DeMeco Ryans knows this offense really well. He was in San Francisco, the Houston coach. So this is a very, very interesting game. San Francisco's 5-2, but every game is important because of the injuries. Like you got to see that they're healthy. Like they had a great early start. They can't just give away games, but Houston's desperate.
Yeah, the injuries in the division, right?
Yeah.
The Seahawks look good, Rams look good. For me, this is the Texans season. You're talking about, is it the Ravens season? Because the Colts have come out of nowhere and all of a sudden look like they're going to win that division, the Texans have been lost. And I thought they could turn it around because they have this great defense, but the issues on offense are clearly deep. It's the offensive line. It's the quarterback. It's the play calling. It's the lack of weapons. It's everything. If they don't win this game, it's over.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the more underrated rivalries in NFL renews this week as the Bucs travel to New Orleans to face the Saints this week. Baker Mayfield saying he does not like them and he does not expect a clean game from the Saints.
That's funny. Yeah. I guess that's what the Saints have, right? Still just like some dirtier play. I don't know about that. To me, this one feels like this is has to be a Bucks get right game. I know these division games can be very tight, and by the way, the Saints play everyone pretty tight.
Yeah.
But if Tampa is going to reclaim their spot as an actual a Super Bowl contender, it's got to come off of wins like this after what happened last week.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I hope he's playing because I know he's been battling injuries. But I want to see a big Taysom Hill game, and then I want to see Taysom Hill get traded. The dude actually, there was a couple throws he's made that have been good this year. Why not? He's the very, very, very watered-down Shohei Ohtani of football, and people forget that. Not going to laugh at that line. The dude's a tight end and a quarterback, man. Give him some love.
We're still laughing on you saying that you want to see Taysom Hill play well and then get traded. I'm sure every Saints fan's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, no. Now he's on the trade block. He's a very good short yardage back because he's massive. He's 35 years old and doing everything. Nobody cares except for me. It's weird.
All right, let's go to the Mile High City where the Denver Broncos will be hosting the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. I wrote my Athlon column this week. I do a weekly column for them that Dak Prescott has a better than everyone thinks chance to win the MVP. He's 9th in odds right now. The problem is those darn Broncos. Like, Dak's been lighting up everybody, but I do think this combination of Pickens and Lamb on the field together, it gives Dak a great chance to keep these numbers up, even against a great defense like Denver. Denver's defense is amazing, but I'm wowed by Dallas's offense. So you got a great offense going up against a great defense.
Yeah, that part of it I'm interested in. I'm also interested about Bo Nix. I think we're going to be asking this question to the end of time, is Bo Nix good? And when you face teams like the Dallas Cowboys, who their defense is bad and banged up, you can run on them and you can throw on them. And, if Bo Nix really is the MVP caliber quarterback, like his head coach Sean Payton said, then you put up numbers against Dallas.
Yeah.
That's how these Dallas games go. You get into shootouts. And so can Bo Nix hold his own against an actual MVP candidate in Dak?
If Dallas is up by 21 points in the fourth quarter, just do not take your foot off the gas. I'll tell you that right now after last week.
Cam Ward quizzed reporters in Tennessee to know if they could recite the play calls that he regularly does every Sunday. They could not. Hopefully he's got those play calls remembered when he travels to the 6-1 Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, so again, Perloff said it, gambling a little bit dicey of a conversation today, but Colts are 14-point favorites in this game. I mean, it's at home, so maybe you'd expect it, but, for Tennessee, change the coach, not really seeing that much different. I think this is just a season that's obviously all just about Cam Ward and his development. And this is another opportunity potentially for Jonathan Taylor to add to his MVP campaign, even though the Titans front is not terrible.
That's so funny. I was going to say this is a chance for Daniel Jones to add to his MVP because Daniel Jones is leading all the analytics. But one thing's for sure, Shane Steichen, the Colts coach, is making a strong Coach of the Year candidate case. It feels like he's got it. I don't know if there are odds on that. He's got to be the front runner. They love an offensive coordinator like Kevin Stefanski or Shane Steichen. He's done a great job too. He's legit. Former Eagles offensive coordinator. I'm giving him a lot of credit for what we're seeing with both those players.
Sorry, for Jonathan Taylor, why I was highlighting him, I should have mentioned that Jeffrey Simmons is not going to play in this game, right? The defensive tackle. And so there could be a lot of open space in the middle. Yeah,
and Taylor actually, I was looking at MVP odds. He's the highest non-quarterback in the MVP list. So that's no joke either.
And last one here, no revenge on the mind. We're all just here to have fun in Pittsburgh when Aaron Rodgers faces his old team, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick the Packers in this game. Listen, the Packers offense, to me, Pearl, still very much a work in progress. And I always want it to be a little bit better than it is. But I do think that Jordan Love, if they allow it, if Matt LaFleur allows those explosive plays, you saw what Joe Flacco just did to this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. You can throw on this bunch. So, to me, even if it's not Jamar Chase out there, they're talented enough where you can have explosive plays downfield and where you can put up some points and then make Aaron Rodgers have to play from behind so they can't get the run game going.
Green Bay is favored. So I just think that they're getting healthy. Yeah, they're getting healthier. It's the question for me on Green Bay. We had Bill Michaels, the Wisconsin radio host, on the other day. Will Matt LaFleur kind of let Jordan Love cook a little bit? That's the thing. He wants to be so conservative. We might not see Jordan Love really open up the offense. So they'll keep it close, which plays to the Steelers' favor. So I would expect a close game. either way. And I don't think the Steelers can open up their offense. Like, they're not going long with any effectiveness. Aaron Rodgers played great, but he only has like 200 yards a game. This game, to me, though, we've been arguing about it all week. I don't think he cares that much about the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers just really wanted to stick it to the Jets. I think he's going to hug people and genuinely mean it.
Yeah, if you don't believe Aaron Rodgers wants revenge here, I got some beachfront property in Idaho for you. He is Mr. Revenge, keeps receipts on everybody. 888-710-4ISN coming up. We've got more details for you from this gambling scandal that is rocking the NBA. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
About betting scandals put you guys in the mood for Broadway shows?
We got a Friday Manny. I mean, listen, if you're going to play the Grease soundtrack, you know Perloff's in.
That's what they always say.
Perloff, big Travolta guy.
No, big Olivia Newton-John guy, I think. Let's get to Gordon Damer, who's got the latest on this NBA scandal that is just exploding.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of angles to this now, and we talked about it last hour, how the conspiracy theories, which already are kind of online for people who are online constantly, this is just going to go down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. So while that's going on, you do have the NBA season going on as well, and Golden State beating the Nuggets last night in overtime, 137-131. Steph Curry, 25 points with 2:35 left in regulation. He had 17 the rest of the way. So he finishes with 42. The Thunder, another double overtime win. They beat the Pacers 141-135. SGA, a cool 55 in the double overtime win. Football story. Last year, the Vikings had both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones on their roster. This year, they got Carson Wentz.
Wentz in the shotgun on a 3rd and 5. Looking left, still looking left. Pocket collapsing. Wentz dropped. Khalil Mack. I got it right that time. A loss of 5.
You know, there was just so many sacks. The announcer was having trouble keeping track of who was getting the sack there. That the call on Chargers radio. Wentz was sacked 5 times. Felt lower. It felt higher than that, right?
Yeah,
like 5 is only.
He was in severe pain with his left shoulder and going down his arm. There was one play where he got hit up and he threw a moonball just like straight up in the air. And the DBs and Justin Jefferson were just staring at it. Like the rest of the team was giving up on the Vikings offense. There was just no way to get a game going. And they can't. They're the worst run team in the league. They're terrible.
Wait, why didn't they go to the backup? It was J.J.
Max
McCarthy
Brosmer,
was like, he was in a uniform, but he obviously couldn't play. But get Wentz out of there.
He was actually, McCarthy was a 3rd quarterback. So both two get hurt. He's allowed to come in. He's not allowed to come in until, I think it's the rookie Max Brosmer out of Minnesota. I don't know. I have no idea why they didn't go to him.
Kevin O'Connell said after the game that they have confidence in him, but that they wanted to stick with Wentz. So it tells you that they don't really have that.
Wentz was in real pain. But, hey, listen, there was a lot of controversy. Do you go back to McCarthy? Now, at least that answers that question.
Yes, that is cleared. Chargers won the game 37-10. Joe Alt back for L.A. as Justin Herbert, 3 touchdown passes. How about a little NFL controversy? During the game last night, Al Michael mentioned on the broadcast on Amazon how the kicker of the Vikings, Will Reichard, missed a kick. The only kick he's missed this year hit a camera wire in the London game. Well, someone in the NFL office apparently didn't like that.
32-yard field goal attempt. The league wants to take my lunch away because I've said before that Reichard's only miss was hitting a wire in London. The league says, no, it was an optical illusion. Not what Reichard thinks. Anyway, there you have it. We cleaned it up. Always cleaning up our mess.
Yeah, that courtesy of Amazon.
Oh, man. The disdain just dripping from Al Michaels' voice there that he got a call in the middle of the game.
You have to fix this.
That you must fix this. I wonder how often that actually happens.
Oh, boy.
Whether it's not just the standalone games, like does it happen in the 1 o'clock games and stuff like that?
The other part of the investigation into the NBA with the FBI, I only realized recently, only 4 of the 5 crime families were actually mentioned.
thought about that yesterday.
Columbo's left out. How do the Columbos get left out of this?
Somebody's going to have hell to pay for that.
Right.
Someone's in cement shoes in the bottom of the Hudson
I
for getting left out.
I recently watched a documentary on Joe Colombo.
Uh-huh.
I'm so in on this part of it. I know everything. I spend most of my free time watching mafia documentaries. Just so you guys know, if you have questions, come to me in the break.
Again, I don't believe that you have the same 24 hours as the rest of us.
No, I haven't been able to watch anything lately, so I'm falling behind. There hasn't been a good mafia documentary lately.
Well, look, we got new material.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
How quickly can we turn this thing around and get it on Netflix?
Do you think the Colombos are happy that they got left out now, that there's this FBI investigation, or do you think there's a little...
No, somebody
How do we get
could have
left
been
out of
making
this?
money. This scandal started in
Absolutely.
2018. Think of how much money got left on the
At
table.
the same time, like they would be also though implicated and outed, right? Isn't the
What do
mafia?
they care?
I mean, but aren't you supposed to kind of hide in plain sight? Like you don't want to actually get caught in plain sight. That's worse.
Now you're being talked about, and you didn't even get any of the of the dough.
Then you look like a incompetent mob
Yeah.
family.
I mean, I was surprised the way the Bananas operate that they'd get involved in this particular kind of.
They're more prostitution
By the way,
and drugs.
If you're out there listening, Bananas, I know nothing. I don't even know who you are.
Thank you, Gordon. Coming up, Nick Costos will join us. He does every Friday. We'll get to that in just moments. Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Today's all about scandal, unfortunately, for the NBA. Landed yesterday right after the show, Pearl, and our jaws were on the floor as we're watching the head of the FBI and all the other bigwigs from the Justice Department talking about this two-pronged scandal in the NBA. First, it's like an insider trading scandal, basically. It was people who were giving injury information before it became public to bettors and to, subsequently, the mob. Turns out there's another tentacle to this scandal, which is a loaded poker game, rigged poker games that were using NBA, either former players or current coaches, in the case of Chauncey Billups, to be a star celebrity, to reel in these unsuspecting fish who would then bet a lot in these games, not knowing they were getting totally ripped off.
One thing, too, Kash Patel had a big press conference. The FBI is going to really keep diving into this because they got a lot of press yesterday. I mean, I hate to be cynical, but I'm not even going to talk about the timing and Trump like Stephen A. Smith did. But listen, there are bigger problems on the earth than 3 NBA players fixing games and being involved in illegal poker games. But I feel like the FBI is going to keep on pushing this front and center. So any sports betting scandal will be fully explored by the authorities. I think we might be at the beginning of something instead of the end of something with this indictment.
No clue where this is going to go, right? But one thing I do know is that, listen, I understand everyone feels like can be walking conflict of interest, right? You can be you feel a little like being a walking hypocrisy here because you're talking about the ills of sports gambling, but then also, obviously, all of sports now is in bed with sports companies and sports betting companies. But here's what I would say. You know, when Terry Rozier took himself out of a game after 9 minutes and all of his unders hit and the guys who knew about, him taking himself out of the game made all this money, it got flagged immediately. The sports books have, they have the instruments in place to catch these weird fishy activity, and they take it directly to the FBI. Yep. So our issue, really is it, making sure that things are square and on the level. That's obviously 100% true for sports, but then also making sure that your bets are safe and that if you were defrauded, you're going to get your money back, which happens when you do bet legally.
Yeah, and it's 2025. Wait till AI gets a hold of this, and then they'll be able to smoke out fishy bets even quicker.
Okay, let's turn to our pal Nick Kostos from You Better You Bet. He joins us every Friday at this time. Nick, we're fascinated to hear your thoughts on this scandal as someone who does wagertainment, as you say, and you do it so well, and somebody who does sports betting for a living.
Yeah, so great to be on with you guys. First, like the Chauncey Billups part of the story is really funny. I just imagine him sitting next to like Ben Wallace and Richie Aprile and Johnny Sack in like a smoke-filled room playing cards. But the sports betting part of this, I think people want to rush to judgment. And I should preface this by saying, and I opened my show with this yesterday, that look, like Odyssey signs my paychecks, but part of the reason why I make what I make is because of BetMGM. And I am also paid separately by BetMGM. So I'm a BetMGM ambassador. I create content for BetMGM. So I think it would be easy for people to say that I'm kind of carrying water for the sports books with what I'm about to tell you guys, but I would just say to people, keep an open mind. And when I'm done explaining what I'm about to explain, ask yourself, like, do you agree with what I'm about to say? And Maggie, I think you will, based on what I heard you saying at the tail end there before you brought me on. Like, the reason why you're able to catch people, like, if it's true, like if this is accurate and like the charges are true and he's guilty, the reason why you're able to catch people like this is because sports betting is legalized. Like, that's the reason why that stuff like this is able to be flagged. You know, Jay Croucher is a betting analyst for NBC Sports. You watch, he's on NBC every Sunday night before Sunday Night Football doing a stand-up hit. He used to be the head trader at PointsBet, which is a sports book that no longer exists, but he had a really high-ranking spot in this sports book. And he came on You Better You Bet yesterday, and he told a story about how, like, it's really annoying for the sports books to have to report all this stuff because they're getting called constantly about it. So in a preseason game, if the point spread moves in the NFL 4 points towards one side, they get a call from someone. Anything fishy going on here? And he has to say, like, no, like the Cowboys are actually just like not playing any of the starters. Like, that's what's happening here. So they are on top of this big time here. So legalized sports betting actually helps you catch these bad actors. And the other thing that I would say is the idea that legalized sports betting is causing things like Terry Rozier, right? Or Jonte Porter, or like other instances where this has happened. Like, the implication there is that this sort of thing never existed prior to sports betting being legal, which, I mean, this is human nature. I mean, dating back to before Christ, after death, people have been trying to cheat other people. People have been trying to skirt issues. People have been trying to make money in nefarious ways. Think about the shell game that's been around forever. Like, cheating at card games, do we really think this just started when sports betting became legal? Or people were point shaving before sports betting became legal? Like, come on. So I think, like, those two things in concert, obviously you can say sports betting is not a pristine thing. Like, neither is alcohol, like neither is smoking cigarettes. But if you do them in moderation, I think it's okay. So I actually think legalized sports betting, like, helps root out these bad actors. I've said bad actors like more than like,
I was going to say, did Pontius Pilate actually come up with the X-ray table that the poker players were using? Because that is crazy.
Well, I don't know if you can you get water on the X-ray table? Because that was like his thing. He was washing his hands, right? So can you get water on the X-ray?
Well, the problem is when Roman gladiators threw a match, it didn't end up well for them.
Well, yes. Instead of facing a court of law, they got thrown to the lions, and not the ones from Detroit.
No. I'm saying if it was a one-on-one gladiator match and you threw the match, you're dead.
You're dead. Yes,
but your family might do well.
Yes, you're dead.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
I have a question. I was wondering this yesterday. I know you know a good answer. How much money is? Are there strict limits on prop bets? Like these, obviously, it's a much different formula. Like, I'm here in New York, and there's lots of rules around prop bets. How much money are we talking about a prop? Because it does seem easy to the casual to say, oh, a guy could just fake a foot injury. Can this really affect markets in a very meaningful way?
Well, I think it's like a pretty sophisticated operation that's able to get down without getting into the weeds on this. Like, a lot of money on prop bets. It's not like you have a BetMGM account and you bet $200,000 on Terry Rozier under assists. Like, that's not really how this works. Like, you have to have, it's way, way, way more complicated than that. But what I would say, kind of, Perloff, to answer your question in a different way would be, I think when you, and this is not me making a case for this not to happen, but when you're offering props for, and let's just use the NBA, for like the ninth guy off the bench, like you may leave yourself susceptible to things like this happening, right? Where like it's very difficult, right, for Steph Curry to throw a game. For Steph, because all the eyes are on him as a superstar. For star players, even starters, 6 men to do that, I think you run the risk of this a little more when you are setting betting markets for players that are not the stars of that team, where if they have a bad game, no one's really like, if Steph Curry's dribbling the ball off his knee 5 times and a half, we're like, something's up here. Terry Rozier does it, we're like, oh, Terry Rozier sucks. And then you go on about your day. So I do think that that's something to consider. Like the 9th or 10th guy off the bench, like, I love betting. I don't know if we need, like, an assist prop for that player.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing about Rozier, though, is, like, he has a $90 million contract. You know, you would think a guy like that who made that much money. I know this is not exactly a one-to-one thing, whether you have money, whether you would be susceptible to the mob maybe getting their clutches on you. That is not the same. Same with Billups made a ton of money. Damon Jones made a lot of money. All the guys arrested made a lot of money. But you would think that guy could be above the fray.
Can I hit you with this?
Yeah.
Can I hit you with, and I made this analogy yesterday on my show, and this is not to insinuate that, the two crimes, if they're guilty, are the same. They're not. Bernie Madoff is like Satan incarnate on earth.
Yeah.
Ponzi knowingly scheme. Knowingly, and with the Ponzi scheme, knowingly frauded tons of people out of their life savings, and he was already rich. So I'm not, again, this is not to say that anyone that engages in any type of crime is that level. And I'll use this word, evil. It doesn't have to be evil, right? Like Bernie Madoff was. But that's just an example of what I'm talking about where, you don't have to be like Aladdin, stealing bread in Agrabah at the market, needing something to eat to want to make more money. This is human nature. Now, I don't feel that way, and most people don't. But I don't think you can look around and say just because that person has money, he or she's not going to try to get more in some kind of nefarious way that's breaking the law. That's just not how humanity goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely not. And again, you add the mob into it, it felt a little bit like an episode of The Sopranos or something, or like a mob. It literally felt like Henry Hill at times with the, in Goodfellas. They get into you. You can't get out. You start to owe
was
them
Chauncey
things.
Billups in debt? That's my question.
No, but
he had to have been in debt, right? Because why else would you do this?
Well, or he's in debt, or he just is, associated with some people who are, into some bad stuff, like a crime family, and he's trying to be an upstanding citizen. He's trying to get a job as a head coach. All these things that could tank him. It's not even have to be money. It could just be blackmail of another variety.
Yeah, I mean,
or something. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. You could be right. I don't know if it's my best guess is, and he may not be guilty. The release that they put out, his lawyers basically saying he's not guilty and he's going to fight this. It feels to me like if this is true, I don't think this is just he's upstanding citizen targeted by the mob and they're going to blackmail him. I think this is probably more he's in debt.
Yeah, right.
To them.
So okay.
If it's true,
and the other part of this, Nick, and we would get to some of your, it's not no easy transition here to get your thoughts on some of these games, but the idea that LeBron is not being obviously, accused of anything, but that Damon Jones, who is being accused of a lot of things, was right there, arm's length from LeBron, trafficking in his injury history. His injury status, pardon me. That can't be good for the league. To have a superstar like Shohei Ohtani, that just happened with his interpreter, is one step away from some really bad actors here. That to me is a part of the story that I think really makes Adam Silver have to use the bathroom.
Yeah, but it's the Damon Jones part of this. And let's assume there's no reason to believe LeBron's guilty of anything, not being accused of anything, right? I'm the assistant coach of an NBA team. I know that my star player isn't playing in a game. We haven't announced it yet. What's to stop me? I wouldn't, because that's I'm a scaredy cat, and I don't want to do the time, so I'm not going to do the crime. But if I wasn't scared of it, what would stop me from giving that to somebody, giving that information to somebody? So I don't think it has to mean that any of these players are complicit in anything that's happening. I just the idea that people in general, everyone, and I do think that most people are good and are good-natured and don't get involved in anything nefarious. But the idea that everyone's good,
no,
it's
Nick,
just it's
I get
ridiculous.
it. But where this is different is the Lakers weren't employing Damon Jones. He was only there because LeBron wanted him around. That's the part of it that makes it just like Shohei Ohtani with Ipe. Ipe's right next to him only because Ohtani wants him there.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do if you're the Lakers and you want to sign LeBron James and he's like, yeah, my entourage is coming with me? Do you tell him no?
No. I'm just saying that you have to wonder, did LeBron have any idea that Damon Jones is into this kind of thing, right? That's where I start to get worried if I'm Adam Silver. I don't want Terry Rozier, go to jail if you're guilty, right? That's not going to tank the NBA. Nothing will tank the NBA. But I don't know if I want LeBron James getting wrapped up in this. That's someone who you want to put as one of your faces of the league, not just now, but forever.
Yeah, it would be obviously extraordinarily problematic. And honestly, if something happens with LeBron, let him go play AA baseball for a year and then he'll come back.
Football. He'd be a tight end. I'll take the transition.
Yeah,
to
go
football.
ahead.
And I would say, you know what line struck me as fishy? That is not what I mean. But why are the Ravens 6.5 point favorites over the Bears, Nick? The Ravens have looked terrible. I know Lamar will probably play, but their defenses look so bad.
Well, everyone's back for Baltimore, which is how you get there. And I think you default now. So just from a strict betting answer to your question, Perloff, like you default back to power ratings, right? Where the Ravens entered the year as the best power rated team in the league. And they are getting dinged a little bit here. This would not have been the spread if they played in week 1. Baltimore would have been definitely more than a touchdown favorite here. Now, my guess is that once Lamar, and I don't even want to make it like it's certain, I think it's 55-45 that Lamar plays. I think this is far from a certainty.
Wow.
Limited practice Wednesday and Thursday off of a bye week. You'd want him to come back and just be slinging it immediately, and that's not what happens. Now, I do think he's going to play, but I don't want to paint this as a certainty. But I do think he will. And if and when it's announced that he's playing, like, you don't have to be a betting expert to know, like, what happens. People want to bet Baltimore because Lamar Jackson's officially playing. So I think this point spread's going to go up. And if it goes to 7, which I think it will if Lamar plays, and look, the Bears have a rough injury report as well. We need to see if some of their skill position players on offense, Tyreek Stevenson at cornerback, is going to play. We get to 7.5. I'll be interested in the Bears. And Perloff, it's for the reason that you said. You know, when the Ravens' good players on defense were out, the defense was really bad. And when the Ravens' good players on defense were in, the Ravens' defense was really bad. I don't know if they can fix it. So maybe a look towards the over in the game. I would want to take the points with Chicago. Not one of my favorite bets of the week, but I would bet the Bears if I had to.
All right, would love to know your favorite bet of the week, but 2 big profile games, Nick, is Dallas at Denver and then the Packers at the Steelers, obviously for the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour that continues. Do you like a bet in either of those games? And then we'll take your favorite one of the week, too.
I've spent, actually, the humble brag, I've worked out this morning.
Oh, look
look at you.
You look swole.
I was going to say something, but I didn't want to be weird.
Go ahead.
You look great.
I mean, yeah, obviously you did some traps work. I can tell. I feel like I'm talking to KO Spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tight shirt.
It's working hard.
I gotta tell you.
Give us your take on this, Nick. Stop bragging.
This shirt's working harder than I am. Right So this is true story. I thought a lot about this game this morning, like while I was working out, because it's like a fascinating game. And I think the conclusion that I've come to, and just I want to get the point spread. Okay, so the number's 3.5, but we're close to this dropping back down to 3. So the juice is towards Dallas. We might come back down to 3, and Denver maybe closes as just a 3-point home favorite. You know, the Broncos won, obviously, and beat the Giants last week, and it was terrible for me as a Giants fan. But, you know, Bo Nix played well at the end of that game. He's terrible for 3 quarters. And, like, no one loved the Broncos more than me coming into the year. I bet their over-win total. I think I'm going to win, which is great. I bet them to make the playoffs. I think I'm going to win that, which is great. But despite that, like, I actually don't think this team's really that good. And I don't think this offense is really that good. And, you know, like, they have a ton of sacks, and the defense has been great. I trust Dallas's offense against any defense, even on the road. And what it comes down to is, and I understand, like, the Dallas defense isn't great. I get 3.5 points with Dak Prescott against Bo Nix. I'll take it. So I'll bet the Cowboys plus the 3.5 on Sunday. And Packers Steelers quickly. Yeah. Man, this gives me flashbacks to 2009. Rodgers against Favre. I bet the Vikings in both those games. They covered both against Green Bay in 2009. So we've actually seen some really interesting betting movements on the side of this game, where it opened 3, just Green Bay minus 3 on the road. The initial betting move is towards the Packers. We hit 3.5. So Green Bay gets bet out to a 3.5 point favorite. Now we are down to 3 and the juice is towards the Steelers. So we might come off 3 and go down to, so fascinating push and pull around the number of 3. And that means that there's support for both sides here with bettors of influence on Packers and Steelers. If I had to bet the winner of the game, I would bet Green Bay because I don't trust the Steelers defense. My preferred bet, though, will be on the over. The Steelers defense, I actually think is bad. Like, I'm willing to say it. I think it's bad. And the Packers offense, I think, will be able to score. And on the flip side, I think you will see Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers do what they did when they played the Vikings in Dublin to mitigate that pass rush, which Green Bay is going to have with Micah Parsons, obviously. Ton of quick game. You know Rodgers is playing here with piss and vinegar. And the offense for the Steelers has actually been good. I want to go over 45.5 on Sunday night with Green Bay and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Nick, unfortunately, that's where we have to leave it, but it was interesting to get your thoughts on this betting scandal as someone who lives and works in this space.
Yeah, and by the way, we're not having you on next week if the Giants beat the Eagles again. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Well,
and I'm unfollowing you.
I'm looking forward to talking to you next
Yeah,
week.
well, I'll see you on social media on Sunday, buddy.
Wait, is that your best bet of the week, Eagles?
If A.J. Brown plays and like the point spread is 7, I think the Eagles are going to kill the Giants.
Did you see Cam Scatterby at the Knicks game? The energy is all there, buddy.
He literally he looks like every kid I grew up with in New York. Like it's hysterical. Like he really does. Like you see someone like he's on the Long Island Railroad and he's wearing the Knicks jersey. It's like he grew up here. He's a native New Yorker, lifelong New Yorker. It's very funny. Best bet of the week, very quickly. If you can find a 7.5 with Carolina at home against Buffalo, Maggie, your defense can't stop the run.
Yep.
Give me the Carolina Panthers.
See, does Nick have to say it for you guys to finally believe it? Why I'm nervous about this game? Everyone's saying I'm just being nervous Nelly here.
The Bills are. I don't think they're really that good.
I think they are. I think you guys are wrong.
Well, they have Josh Allen, but I mean, so how about this? Am I taking you over here? Or do you have 30 seconds?
We got 15.
Okay. Colts at Bills. Buffalo hosts the game January. Who are you betting?
Bills.
Great. I'll book your action. I'll take the Colts. Jonathan Taylor will run for 200 yards.
You know why, Nick? Maggie thinks that the Bills are going to lose an intra-squad scrimmage. She's Lou Holtz. She says every opponent, including the Carolina Panthers and my guy Andy Dalton, are basically the 85 Bears.
Maggie,
that's
can
why
you say
I think
that
the
in a
Bills
Lou Holtz voice or no?
Yeah, they take their pants off just like we do. They put their pants on. The Carolina Panthers
put their pants on one regular time.
Dan Patrick, my former boss, says the best Lou Holtz. It is the most entertaining thing. I'll send you a clip.
Great.
But
I won't watch it.
She does that. Maggie does that where she inflates the opponent. And I got to be honest, the Panthers defense, you really think Josh Allen can't whoop them?
I think that they're going to hit him with the RICO, which is what the FBI would like to do to the NBA. And I think Dowdle and Chuba will run for 200 yards. The Bills can't stop the run.
Wow. Nick, you really landed that plane.
That was good.
Thank you, Nick. We can watch Nick.
Cuba Missile Crisis.
You better, you bet. Joins us every Friday at this time. Appreciate it, Nick. Have a good show.
Wishing everybody minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Peace.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We went a little long there with Nick, but some good information. We will talk to Amy Dash in a little bit. She's the Odyssey legal insider to see what Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones are facing here as they have now been arrested and indicted on multiple charges relating to this gambling scandal. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Let's not lose the fact today on a very busy news and sports day that it is a crazy, crazy sports weekend. There's so much going on. I cannot wait. Let's go to Gordon Damer for the latest headlines.
Guys, anyone who knows Chauncey Billups knows he is a man of integrity, and men of integrity do not cheat and defraud others. That is part of the statement released by Billups' attorney yesterday after he was arrested in that connection to alleged participation in an illegal gambling scheme. Billups is accused of taking part in rigged poker games. He was not named in the Terry Rozier indictment, but as you guys were mentioning, a person that referred to co-conspirator number 8 certainly seems to match his description, that even if you were trying to describe Chauncey Billups, I don't know that you could do a better job than they did with
I think it was Oregon resident in the NBA from 2007 to 2014, currently a coach from 2022.
Do we know why they would not just name him in it then?
You know, Amy Dash is our legal expert. We're going to ask her next, like, why do they name him in one indictment, but maybe not? He's a co-conspirator in the other. I wasn't sure if it was something about a plea deal.
Maybe.
But can you go plea deal half the way? Anyway, this is why we have Amy.
There you go.
I got to be honest, this is probably not a legally sound take, but I saw Chauncey Billups' lawyer statement. He's saying he does not cheat, he does not defraud. If it turns out like Chauncey's like does a plea deal or somewhere in between, then I say throw the complete book at him, because like the lawyer's going too far. He's basically saying it has nothing to do with this. If we find out he had any involvement, then this lawyer is 100% full of crap.
Wait a second, you're saying the lawyer's lying?
But I mean, come on, he's going way over. He's a man of integrity. He's not cheating. He's not stealing. It's like, yes, he might have been at the. I don't want to hear yes, he might have been at this poker game or this. Like he's saying, the lawyer's saying he is totally nothing to do with this. Like, get it. He better be right, because
also,
otherwise.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut it. You're either at a poker game or you're not, right? I think they're going to say that he didn't know that they were all cheating around him.
I mean, basically, the lawyer is like, why would he jeopardize his career for something like this?
That's what we're all asking.
Yeah, but the lawyers say that, like, to me, like, he can't do a plea deal now. Like, I don't want to hear Chauncey sing. Like, I want to hear the lawyer talk if Chauncey makes a deal, which is very, very possible. He's looking at serious jail time. Then I don't want to hear the lawyer come out I don't want to ever hear from him again.
Everyone, of course, talking about the story. Everyone has an opinion on the story. Even Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA.
Man, this ain't got nothing to do with damn gambling addiction. This ain't got nothing to do with addiction. These dudes are stupid.
Charles has weighed in, courtesy of ESPN.
Hey, listen, Charles might know.
Certain logic there.
Two.
Oh, come on.
Kenny was trying to portray it as, if it's an addiction, you really can't blame them if it's gambling addiction.
He's an idiot and a fool.
Yeah.
I think that there's an addictive part of this. Although, Pro, we were talking about it earlier, is addiction in this sense, like what Michael Jordan said, I don't have a gambling addiction, I have a competition addiction.
Could be.
But to me, if you're in a rigged game, this is not that competitive. I'm not dismissing it. Maybe it does fire up the same part of your brain of getting away with something.
I think it does more than you might realize, like whatever, dopamine or something like that. I think that's a big deal. I mean, who would not want to know what the cards are in advance? It's a fantasy of every gambler.
But you're not even it's just weird. One thing, you defraud the house, right? Like the house is like the casino in Vegas.
Right. That's counting cards. It's amazing.
Right. But this is, you're just literally ripping off Bill, who's sitting right next to you.
And you apparently had a hand in bringing Bill into the game.
Like the nameless, faceless casino that's just making money off everyone anyway. I think it's Ocean's 11, they knocked off the casino, and that's kind of fun and hero, vigilante justice or something.
Yeah.
Literally just ripping off the dentist. Hey, I brought my dentist in, and now we're just going to fleece him for $50K.
That's a lot of boxes of ziti, in The Sopranos.
Maggie, does that mean you agree with Charles Barkley? These people are just idiots.
Kind of.
On the court,
he's an idiot and a fool.
Second straight double overtime win for the Thunder. They beat the Pacers 141-135. SGA 55 there. Steph Curry 6 threes, including some big ones late. Warriors beat the Nuggets in just a single overtime, 137-131. Football Thursday night, Chargers rolled over the Vikings 37-10. Carson Wentz, a big story here, took a beating last night, got sacked 5 times, clearly in a lot of pain.
Pain is pain. I felt like I could still help this team and find a way to go down and score and all that stuff. So we knew that coming into the game, that was going to be part of it. And again, that's the tough part of Thursday night games. Just don't quite get the chance to recover, but that's no excuse.
Did he just say pain is pain?
Pain is pain.
That would sound really cool if it was like a Roadhouse movie or he was Dolph Lundgren.
Rocky.
But it doesn't sound cool at all from Carson Wentz.
No, not when you get your brains beat in.
When your arm's in traction.
If you go, pain is pain. That sounds great. Carson Wentz, after that game, not so much.
All right, we have a lot of questions about this NBA betting scandal, this gambling scandal, from a legal perspective. So for that, we turn to Amy Dash, who is our Odyssey legal insider. And beyond that, joining the show, Odyssey legal insider Amy Dash. Insider calls are presented by who else? BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today at BetMGM app. Amy, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
My pleasure. How are you this morning?
Okay, we're good. We've got tons of questions for you. So when it comes to this NBA scandal, right, where it's kind of 2 scandals in one. One is a insider trading scandal, basically, where people were giving out injury information that was not available to the public about players who would either play in the game or pull themselves out of the game that night for betting purposes. The second are these poker games that were illegal but also rigged. And there were there's NBA ties and there's mob ties with both of these. For Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones, the NBA guys, what are they all facing and how serious could it be in terms of jail time?
So they are all facing the same charges, which are conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. And so both of these federal crimes carry up to 20 years in prison, but I really don't think anything close to that is likely. There are a lot of factors that go into if they were even convicted, which of course they're going to have an opportunity to put a very full defense, and we can talk about that, what kind of things they might be able to say. But they look at the court when it looks at sentencing guidelines, will see what's the criminal history, how many victims were there, how much money was at stake here. have the people who've been convicted been able to provide restitution, money back to the victims. As we saw in the college bribery scandal, a lot of people actually involved in that were facing very similar charges. Some of them got 6 months in prison when convicted, and some of them struck plea deals, and then some of them just got probation. So it really is going to be on a case-by-case basis.
Amy, this is like I'm watching a TV show. How important is giving information about other people in this case? Because it feels like the number of indictments we had now could mushroom because those people are then, quote unquote, cutting deals. And then you get into the mafia. Is that going to be a big part of this case? People who they bring in then talk about other people?
I think it's important because that would be more likely to get you a plea deal at least offered. Plea deals are not guaranteed. A lot of people think you go in and you get offered a plea deal. A lot of people don't get offered plea deals. But what I would say is with the alleged mafia ties here and 4 families involved, if it were me, I would be scared to give information. I mean, you're ratting out people in the mafia to try to get yourself a better deal, and you're putting your life potentially at risk. So, yeah, the exchange of information, sometimes you can do that. And as we've seen in popular movies, you will get protection. But some people go into hiding for the rest of their lives after doing something like that.
Yeah.
So
Chauncey Billups can't really do that.
Oh, my gosh. Where can he hide? Nowhere. Amy Dash is the Odyssey legal insider. I know we know this is very serious, Amy. We're not treating it that way. But, we have a question, too. It just came up about how Chauncey Billups is named in the indictment, right, about these poker games that he was allegedly a part of to lure in these unsuspecting people thinking they're going to a game that's square, and it's not. But then it also seems like he is co-conspirator number 8 in a different part of the indictment where it's all these identifying factors that would definitely point to Chauncey Billups. Why name him in one part but not the other part of the indictment?
Right. So I think you're referencing specifically the game March 24th, 2023, where the Trailblazers played the Bulls, and the indictment references that co-conspirator 8 told another defendant that the Trailblazers would be tanking to increase their odds of a better draft pick in the upcoming draft, and not playing one of their star players. And then if you go to the indictment description of who is co-conspirator 8, while they don't name the person, they do say an NBA player who played from 97 to 2014, an NBA coach since 2021, and an Oregon resident. So who else would have that information at that time? Potentially it could be Chauncey Billups, but we don't know for sure. There are a couple of options here. Either someone is named as co-conspirator 8 because they did provide information on another case to ensure that they wouldn't get charged, or the other alternative is that the federal government does not have enough evidence to charge them in that other case because even though information may have been given to someone else, they weren't able to necessarily tie that the person knew that they were giving that information for illegal purposes, such as, people being able to place bets on the outcome of the NBA game.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those two possibilities.
Amy, an important question, I think, in the current sports industry and the current sports landscape is the sports books that we all use, Maggie and I promote. It seems like, in a way, they helped keep some of this not on the up and up, but these guys were caught because gambling is legal. Do you think that's a fair take, that the sports books actually play in some ways a positive role in this story? Because this has probably been going on for many, many years before.
Yeah, but I think that what happens in a lot of these cases, especially at the federal level, is that one case sort of gets tied to another case, or somebody that's involved will tip off the federal government to try to get themselves immunity. Or like you guys said, there'll be something like a proffer where the feds will bring someone in and say, tell us everything you know and we won't charge you in this case, and that will lead them to be able to crack another case. They've been following this case for 4 years, and of course they made arrests of over 30 people across 11 states and have thousands of hours of video surveillance. They've issued more than 24 search warrants on electronic records. So I really feel that this was something that somebody tipped them off. And then, of course, these sports betting platforms, they were able to infiltrate what was going on there and sort of gather information over a long period of time to build their case piece by piece. So I think it's more about the law enforcement process and how that normally goes that would lead to something like this.
Amy, last one for you, and thanks again for doing it this morning. Amy Dash is Odyssey's legal insider. If you were defending Chauncey Billups or Damon Jones or Terry Rozier, what would be the defense? Like, what can we expect from the lawyers to say how they were not involved or not guilty?
Well, for Chauncey Billups, the first thing I would do is, because there are ties allegedly to mafia families, and because the indictment cites that Jonte Porter specifically was threatened in order to participate in one of these schemes, allegedly. I would say duress. I would say that, Chauncey Billups, if in fact this is true, had gambling debts, that he was threatened to participate, that he didn't know that the rigging was going on. But of course, you don't know what kind of evidence the government has. With all of this surveillance, with all of the text messages, and with people cooperating, you don't know if they have sort of a smoking gun that would show that Chauncey Billups did have the state of mind to know what was going on, was getting a portion of the proceeds, for example. With Terry Rozier, he was already investigated, and he thought, I guess, that he was cleared, at least on the NBA side. And then I think what I saw in the indictment is that this additional evidence saying that Terry Rozier was allegedly co-conspiring with a childhood friend who was getting the information, sort of coordinating these bets. And then they say that Terry Rozier funded this friend's trip to Philadelphia. And then when he left Philadelphia, the friend brought the winnings allegedly back to Rozier's house, where he allegedly got a piece of it. And so, again, I would go to state of mind, and I would say that Terry had no idea that this was his childhood friend. He trusted him. He had no idea that this information was going to be used for illegal purposes. That's not something he would endorse, and that when the friend, told him he was going to Philadelphia for another purpose. Of course, again, the evidence could come in where there are text messages implicating Terry Rozier, and maybe the NBA didn't know about that. So before any type of trial, the defense will get all of the evidence. They're supposed to through the discovery process. And so then they will, they might come up with their defenses, but they might have to sort of adjust those defenses once they see what the other side has. And if the case is really strong, they may try to get a plea deal. They may just think it's not worth it if they don't feel that they have a chance to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that their clients are innocent.
Amy, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We have a feeling this is not the last time we're going to be talking to you about this case. So thank you for bringing some clarity this time.
My pleasure.
Okay. That was Odyssey legal insider Amy Dash, and insider calls are presented by MGM. Go check out all the latest lines today. The BetMGM app.
Oh, there you go. By the way, somebody's dawned on me. Saturday Night Live is going to take massive cracks at this story this weekend. I guarantee it. I'll give him a skit. We just hopped on one. If Chauncey Billups is afraid of the mob and goes into hiding like Henry Hill, and there's a guy next. Hey, if a 6'3" black man who's bald and has a championship ring moves next door, his name is not really Bill. He's like, no, I'm not
Wichita?
Chauncey. My name's Bill. I swear.
Chauncey
Rangers.
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups in hiding somewhere, just pretending to be an average guy.
If he does, don't wear the 2004 championship ring. No, but that's actually a great point. I actually didn't even think about that, because there will be exchanges of information. You have a very scary sort of thing behind this in this case. That's why we shouldn't make light of it. This is heavy, heavy stuff.
Yeah, like the idea that you would rat someone out when the mob is involved. And, in the indictments, they actually list kind of like the cast of characters, right? It's all the people who've indicted. It's their names, it's their nicknames and all of that stuff. And it's their alleged affiliation. So you can see this guy is allegedly with this mob family, and this one's with the other one, and this one's with a different one. It's like, it's all right there.
Right. So if Chauncey Billups knows more about this poker game, he might not share that, which would make a longer sentence for him.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Craziness all around. We've got some thoughts, though, about college football before we head out for the weekend. Stay tuned. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Big Sue and the Golden Girls, that's his fantasy. So Uncle Sam's got his turkey day plans. Sipping bourbon from a can, yeah, that's his stance. He's got the Maggie and Perloff show on blast. Feeling thankful and tipsy, talking fast. Drunk Uncle Sam, he's the man, with a drink in his hand and a wild family plan. Chatting up a storm about freedom and fuss, complaining about censorship and making a fuss. Daly's in the chat, shouting out loud, hey, let us speak free, don't censor the crowd. But Drunkle just laughs with a grin and a wink. He's got Maggie and Perloff and plenty to drink. Drunkle Sam, he's the man, with a pumpkin pie and a turkey day tan. Bourbon in his cup, he's our #1 fan. Raising a glass to the Maggie and Perloff clan. So here's to Drunkle, all merry and bold, with Thanksgiving cheer and chat uncontrolled. He's loud, he's proud, a fan through and through. Cheers, Uncle Sam, we're thankful for you.
2 minutes remaining.
Lightning Radio Network. Yes, the Lightning special teams were a major
1 minute,
story.
30 seconds remaining.
They've got the power. Dun, 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 dun. They got the power. Ross Geller Colton scored the 4th goal of the night, and Tampa Bay wins 4-1 to take a 1-0 series lead. 3 power play goals for the Lightning last night.
Holy fucking shit, Finite! Finally, little fucking open!
1 minute remaining.
Holy God!
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
eBay is a home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for, it's all there. eBay, things people love, including a piece to my Halloween costume that is coming today. Manny, talk a little hoops. We got something other than the scandal going on?
Yeah, man. The Golden State Warriors, they've kicked off the campaign with wins over the Lakers and the Nuggets. Should Steph Curry and the aging Warriors be seen as serious contenders in the West?
I'm not there. I just got to be honest. I just don't think as the course of the season goes on, 2 games in, but 82 games and then a full playoff round, are they going to have the juice at that age? I'm not there yet.
Well, but we already know that they're going to be making some kind of a move, right? I mean, they wouldn't have done the Jonathan Kuminga deal the way they did it if they didn't want to trade him at some point. I think they're going to be pretty active. I don't think the team you see right now is the team that's going to be, a potential playoff and maybe champion contender.
Well, it's just the West, too. It's crazy right now how much talent there is.
Want to hit the phones to get you guys in on this NBA gambling scandal. Sean is in Oregon. Sean, how are people taking this boots on the ground with now the Trailblazers being right at the center of the scandal?
Oh, we're pretty bummed out. I was listening to Rip City Radio yesterday, and there was a lot of backlash to Coach Chauncey, and there was a whole group of people out here that didn't really want to see him become the coach. And I was behind Chauncey the whole time, but this is all real heartbreaking. And I've been watching the community kind of turn on him and move on, and they're just thankful to have Tiago Splitter here. And then we're going to go out there and whoop the Warriors tonight and just move on from this.
Man, yeah, Tiago Splitter, man, he walks into a tough situation. Obviously, he was the Brazilian star, right? And listen, here's the thing, though, Sean. Does Chauncey Billups, did he really hold a place in Portland Trailblazers' hearts? Like, he doesn't have, does he have a connection to he doesn't have the connection to the city like other great, athletes, right?
It's almost worse. He had a connection with Neil Olshey, and then we parted ways with Neil Olshey real quick, and people didn't like Neil Olshey, and they were ready to turn on Chauncey right away. And so this has gone from kind of bad to worse. And the Blazers, I really support Chauncey. He's really turned the team around with, just hustle and defense. And that's what I think wins games. Defense wins championships. Scoring sells tickets, but, defense wins championships, and that's what I'm all about.
But, Sean, it's funny. Obviously, this team knows controversy. Remember, what they called the Blazers back in the day with all the arrests and things?
The jail Blazers.
Yeah, right. Damian Lillard you cannot make a big enough statue for what he did for that franchise, by the way. I don't know if you agree with me, but, he brought stability to them for a long time.
He bought a lot of losing, and I watched him lose by 20 points under his leadership than anybody else. So I always point this out. We lost by 20 points more with him than we had with anybody else.
Oh, come on. He hit the long shot, and he got hugged, and he looked at the camera. Stop.
Sean, you have some interesting allegiances here. Thank you, sir, for the call. Give us an idea. People are heartbroken in Portland because Chauncey Billups' winning total, like his win-loss record as the head coach of the Blazers is 117 and 211. He's not even close to 40% winning percentage. Like, you don't like Dame because he didn't win, but you like Chauncey because he, brought a winning culture. What winning culture? You finished dead last in the division 3 of the 4 years he's been there. I don't know. I mean, people don't maybe blame the coaches now because the tanking and stuff is obviously organizational. So maybe that's right, but it's kind of an odd. I'm surprised actually to hear the people in Portland are so devastated about this. Shocked for sure.
I think some fans are not. I think they're like, oh, we finally got out of a coach that we weren't sure was going to turn this around anyway.
The fact that Dame is back, even though he's hurt, but at least he's back in the building, maybe that provides a little stability.
What I will say is I think the Blazers last year, they were supposed to be one of the absolute worst teams in the NBA, and they did fight to the point where they were respectable. They weren't a playoff team, but they were, I think they hit their over for that season, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But they exceeded expectations in that regard. So I think there was something to say, okay, maybe he's putting the foundation together for something, but Scoot Henderson's development's kind of stalled. Stalled rather. It has been a lot of great signs with Chauncey so far as the Blazers head coach, and I don't think he'll be a coach much longer.
You mean Tiago Splitter, the 2014 NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I hadn't thought about him since the 2014 NBA Finals.
There are some guys that you forget that they exist as humans until a national story happens, and Tiago Splitter fit that description. I forgot he existed until his story.
He blocked LeBron at the rim, and then what about Tiago? All of a sudden, he's a Blazers head coach.
I'll still watch the Blazers, but they're on my must-watch team because you never know when Shaden Sharp is going to jump out of the building and have the highlight of the year. He was 5 for 20 the other night, by the way. Shaden just got a contract extension, and he's going to shoot as much as he can. He could score 25 points a game. He's young still. But the Blazers, you're right, they're full rebuild now. I mean, this is like the final nail in the coffin.
To be honest, it's a big opportunity for Splitter because people are probably expecting very little. And obviously, and if he can somehow rally these guys and they can be a scrappy team, like he's not going to get judged on the win-losses. He's going to get judged on whether or not they're like cohesive unit. No?
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned earlier in the segment, it's such a top-heavy West, too. It's going to be hard to – you might be scrappy, but it's going to be hard to make the playoffs.
One of the other coaches on the staff turned down the job. The Blazers actually were looking at, I forgot the gentleman's name, but there was someone else on the staff that they actually were going to elevate. He said, no, thanks. That's why Splitter is actually being inserted.
Oh, he's the second.
So someone else is like, I don't want this smoke. I'm not reviving nothing with this team.
So you had James Posey was an option, maybe?
Oh, my God. I remember that dude.
Yeah, James Posey was legit intimidating figure. And that's about the Blazers depth chart of coaches.
Okay.
That's where we're going to leave it. EJ Stewart, thank you. Manny Rodriguez, thank you. Gordon Damer, Andrew Kaplan. Thank you to Amy Dash, to Nick Kostos, and to Mike Vornikov. Really appreciate that. The Weedos and the coffee drinkers, enjoy the weekend.